informative and contains my opinion and understanding of the subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi guys, I had to pull my hair up real quick. It was getting on my nerves. How is everyone? I'm so glad that you all made it tonight. I'm so excited, you guys. This is my first live on this case. And I wanted to go live on this case because I want to go over some of the things that I'm saying. And look, I made some notes, you guys, because I want to make sure that this stays in the right place. So let me tell you what I wrote. I'm such a not weird, but goofy like that. So I said, before we even start, hey friends, thank you for joining me. I know this case has touched a nerve for so many of us, and I completely understand why. When children are missing, our hearts race ahead of us, and that's human. Our heart races, and that's human, is what I meant to say. Tonight, I'm here to talk about something a little bigger than one person or one interview. I want to talk about how we can talk about these cases, how emotion, media, and perception can collide in ways that either help or harm the search for truth. So, this is the deal. My friend DT, the reason I wrote this is because DT is getting a little bit of criticism because people think, that he is, that he stands up for Daniel too much. So this is what I would say to this. I asked that tonight. Everybody just keep this to my live. Daniel is a really good friend of mine. And although we don't see eye to eye on this, anyone that is part of Daniel's channel can tell you that he's an amazing person. So I think that Daniel has a police officer's thought process, just like I have a psychology one. And I think that we both bring different things to the table. So with that being said, hopefully tonight we can just keep this to me and what I think about this case, and everybody keep it nice and respectful, and let's all appreciate each other. And I do hear a lot of great things that you guys are saying about Daniel too. I just wanted to say that because I didn't want anybody to be like, why is he making excuses for Daniel? And I don't know that that's what he's doing more than as an ex-police officer. He's following the case as he sees as an ex-officer, where I'm following it as I see as a research psychologist. So with that being said, let's get into this. Oh, also, somebody before we started, a few people asked me about my memberships. So membership, you guys, YouTube just likes to demonetize me, I think. I don't know what it is, but I don't have memberships anymore. They took my memberships away again. I do have the buy me a coffee link in here, and I think you could still do other things if you want, but I don't want anybody to feel that they have to. I just didn't want people to be like, where's our memberships? Hopefully I get them back soon, fingers crossed. I don't know, you guys. It is what it is. I'm trying. So with that being said, I hope can do this. You guys, this is probably the most that I've had in a live by myself in a long time. So I appreciate all of you for being here. So I am just starting on this case. I will tell you, thank you all for the amazing words that you have given me. I do appreciate every bit of them. And I needed them tonight. I was feeling a little bit down before we came. Let's just keep it real. I had I think I had a panic attack. I haven't had one of them in a long time. It had nothing to do with this. It was just when life catches up with you, and I haven't had one of them in years. So keep that in mind. I don't know. Let's just go. Let's do this. So of course, I'm going to be reacting to Daniel M, but it just so happens to be DT's interview. And I also thought it would be good to use his interview because I know that he's not going to copyright strike me. And let's be honest, YouTube is I don't know. I think I'm on their shit list. So we'll see what happens. Also, I am afraid to plug in my Ethernet cable. I feel like every time I do that, something crazy goes on. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. If any of my mods think that it's breaking up and all that stuff, of course, give it a second. Let me explain to everybody that I'm using the computer that could. My computer's ancient. I'm just waiting for my YouTube money to get big enough to where I can redo all of my things so that I can bring you guys a much better show. I am so close. I'm getting there. So let's see what happens. So let's start with Daniel's interview. And hopefully if Daniel's watching, he knows that everybody here respects him, because I don't ever want him to think that I don't. We can totally disagree on things. I think if anything, it brings more than one perspective, and that's not a bad thing. So let's all be here. If you guys have a difference of opinion, that's okay. I'm okay with that. Mods, if anybody has a difference of opinion, unless they're being like outright rude, it's fine to keep their comments. Please try not to use like the words that YouTube's going to keep my memberships from me for longer. But you guys know how to do it. So let's just go.
Bad the day before she went missing on Thursday.
Yeah, she did have it. She did have a cough, but I was never expecting Malaya to keep them home for both days.
And
I got you.
That was Malaya's decision then to keep.
Yeah, of course. She woke up that morning on the morning of the disappearance and marked Jack and Lily both as absent at 6:17 and 6:18 a.m.
Good deal. And so the last time that they're seen is
So someone said that I'm a little bit laggy. Let me just switch. I'm not going to switch to my Ethernet because I feel like that messes me up, but I am going to switch to a different internet. Let's see if it works. Oh, I'm afraid to do this, but let's try it. It might like flash out for 1 second, like flips over. Oh my God, we see 3 people. The disconnect that I was warning is about. So thank you for sticking with me. Hopefully it looks like it has bars. So hopefully this is a better connection. Am I lagging, you guys? Like the Ethernet cable. I'm afraid to, but I will. Just let me know now because I would hate for it to be lagging. Good. Other than that one thing where I went out because that was on purpose because it switched over to a different internet. It is a. Am I good up here? Like, can you guys hear me? A little lag. Ugh. Do I try the Ethernet cable? I'm so afraid. Let's try it. Okay, you guys, let's try my Ethernet cable. Okay, God, please make Ethernet work. All right, it's going to possibly pop out for a second again like it just did because I'm putting my Ethernet cable in, but we're just going to pray that it works. And you guys, I promise I'm trying to get new stuff. Okay, let's see. Have in my Ethernet cable. I did the Ethernet. Hopefully this works. Of course, Daniel went out for a second, but I don't know if that's just because it hooked up my Ethernet cable. Am I good now? Fingers crossed. Am I still laggy? Hopefully I'm good now. I did plug in my Ethernet cable. But you guys, I am going to get new equipment. So far better. Perfect. Let's just go with it then.
The day before. What happened the night after they're seen on camera? What was that night like?
The night they were seen on camera, they were seen on Thursday. They were seen at Dollarama, and then we went to Acropole. You know, we got some food and then brought it home. When we got home, it was a little bit before 4 o'clock, and I went outside and helped Mom work on the fence. It took me a little while to find all my tools and stuff, but then, you know, after I got my drill and everything else, and I helped Mom work on the fence for quite a few hours until it was just coming on to dark. And then after it was dark, I came back inside. What I remember, the kids were sleeping. But when you're looking back in time, Daniel, it's hard to, you know, kind of remember everything and get a feeling for how the night really was, because it just seemed like a normal night, right? When I came inside, I thought the kids were sleeping. And I could have swore they were sleeping, but it says in the documents that she had them up till 9 or 10 at night. I don't remember them being up that late, so I'll tell you that.
Were you looking at your phone or your watch at what time it was every
Yeah, I mean, I got a watch on my arm the whole time, and I never look at it, man. I'm always grabbing for my phone.
You know, it's not uncommon unless you're like something specifically happens and you look at the time at that specific time. You know, I know a lot of people are looking at certain times where, you know, I think they were asleep by 9:30 and then the documents say 10 and like, oh my God, there's 30 minutes here that
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a wild expectation for people to expect to remember things, especially on
Hold on, let's
a
get into the
night that was pretty normal. But that night, what time did you go to bed?
I went to bed actually a lot later than Malaya did, I think. Like Malaya was already asleep when I came into bed. I remember flicking on the light for the kids at 12 at night, or a little bit after 12, so a little bit after midnight, and both of the kids were fast asleep under the covers.
This is my very first problem. Okay, so this is my first problem, you guys. I don't know how many of you out there are parents. However, everybody knows that when kids are sleeping, you don't turn the light on. I know Daniel thought that maybe it was from the hallway the other night, but I don't think that that's what he meant. After I just heard that, I do think that he meant in the room. Does anybody else think that it's odd to put the light on to check on the kids to see if they're sleeping? Maybe it's just me. Or maybe my bathroom light's on enough that I could see my kids without turning the light on, but I just thought that it was like known that you don't turn a light on because then you might wake the kids up. If you guys went in my house and turned the light on while my kids were asleep, I would just warn you that it's okay. But if they wake up, someone needs to babysit because they're sleeping. So that was my first issue.
So, but I never get a chance to see what clothing they were wearing because the blankets were up on them, right?
Did you see the backpack?
Take notice that he says right a lot. I feel like when he says right, that's when he wants us to really believe what he has to say. And take notice of the placement of his tongue after he says certain things, almost as if he's trying to wipe it away.
I don't remember the backpack, the strawberry backpack, but that was always in Lily's room, right?
Okay.
Like that was always in Lily's room. Like she never took it out of there, right? That was her backpack it wasn't a school backpack. I know a lot of people think that, but she actually had a pink LOL doll like for school, and that was her. And the backpack she ended up taking was the one that we bought for when she took to her grandmother's, right? Which would be Cindy Murray.
So when she goes on trips, this was the backpack for trips.
Yeah. She didn't take a school backpack. She took her one that she takes on trips.
Interesting.
Trips or overnight trips or to go to visit. She would use that backpack.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so what's the layout of the house look like? So
the layout of the house is we have the bedroom at the very end.
Okay.
And then we have Lily and Jack's room and my other kid's bedroom and the bathroom and the kitchen and the living room.
Real quick, before we go further, does anybody know why they shared a bedroom? I know that he had two other kids or whatever, but I thought that they came over only part-time where, Jack and Lily were full-time. So I don't know. It could just be that they don't have the room. So I'm not going to put too much emphasis on that. But I know a few people did say something about that. I think if they were older, I would put more emphasis on it, like if they were in puberty or something. But because they're young, we could probably let that slide.
Okay. So how many bedrooms is that?
3-bedroom.
3 bedrooms. And I know some people have asked, like, Lily and Jack, they shared a bedroom. Was there a reason why one wasn't in one room?
No, look at that. I didn't realize he asked.
Well, my other kids are in the other bedroom. I mean, it really didn't matter but I know my daughter Raina and Arlo, they like to be in the same bedroom and they like to play together, right?
Yeah.
So, and it was different. It was a lot different from my other 2 kids, not having like any other kids involved, like with me and being a family before this, right? So it was kind of new to them. It was kind of new to Lily and Jack as well, especially with the new baby coming in too. So it was a little bit different for everybody.
How old was the baby, you guys?
Your other children, they weren't there that night, correct?
No, they weren't. They were there the weekend prior.
So relative to where Jack and Lily's bedroom is to where you guys sleep, how close is that? Is that?
Yeah, it's actually the next bedroom. It's actually the next bedroom over.
And you guys mentioned that you guys could hear them throughout the morning. Is that correct?
Yes, I actually did hear. I know when this says in the documents that we heard them in the next room over, like in their bedroom. I didn't hear them in their bedroom. I heard when Lily would pop in, I heard Jack in the kitchen.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
All right, you guys. So of course we're reacting to DM, whenever I see DM in the comments, I'm like, wait, Dylan. And then I'm like, wait a minute, wrong case, wrong case. But when we talk about this, didn't he say something different in another interview? That's another issue I have with him. I feel like not only it's one thing if I would expect that people have a little bit of a different story when they speak, right? That's actually completely normal. It would be more abnormal to me if you had the exact same thing every time you said something. What's different here is I feel like it's totally different. It's like, you know how the police said, well, that didn't happen. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's like completely off.
I heard him rustling around in the kitchen, right? But then when me and Malaya made our way out to the kitchen, there was nothing moved. The chairs were still perfectly in place. There was no chairs pulled up against the counter for them to, they usually would jump up and take food if they wanted, because kids always do that, right?
I agree with that.
They would go into the fridge. They would go into the other pantry and grab food if they wanted. Like they had unlimited food if they wanted to grab it. And, they would go into the fridge, take yogurt cups and eat them, or cereal or whatever. So, but nothing was moved, Daniel. Nothing was moved.
And now they're being loud-ish. You mean loud enough for you guys to hear them?
Yep.
Your other daughter, Meadow, she was there though, right?
Yeah, she was actually laying beside me with Malaya.
Did you guys ever, or did Malaya ever tell the kids to be quiet? Were they ever waking up Meadow at any point with their noise?
In that morning, no. But when Lily poked in, I did go, shh. Like when she would come in the room, because she always woke up Meadow. Same with Jack, but I mean that's what kids do too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did anyone take notice that he blamed it on the kids? Because she always woke up Meadow. And there's another interview that we're going to look at if we get through this one, like without it being so long, that where he says somebody questions him about like the black eyes. And he literally is like saying that Lily was he's like, yeah, that's probably from her. And I'm like, hold up. Did he just blame the black eyes on the kids? Like, what in the hell is happening right here? I did not like that.
So, some folks are saying that, they may have walked out the back sliding glass door. That seems like the only logical explanation for them to have exited the house. You had something on the front door, correct?
Yeah, on the front porch, there's the front porch door, and then there's the inner door on the front. And I know for 100% they did not go out through that door. So, because when I went and got the keys and tried to come back into the house, couldn't get into the front door, right? I had to go around from the back. And then I went out through the front door.
Gotcha.
So that's how I know they did not exit through the front. They exited out.
So although he has like his thing here about the front door and all, which we could give him, or at least me, when I say we, I'm really talking about me. Cuffy, the kids had black eyes more than once. Real quick, you guys in the chat, can you guys let me know, because I know that kids get bruises and stuff like that. How common was it if you had children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, even yourself? How common was it for you to have black eyes, plural, as a kid? I don't know about all that.
Out through the back sliding glass door.
Now, I've read in the documents that Malaya said something to the effect that the kids didn't always close the door behind them when they went outside. It kind of made it seem like there was times that they did. Is that accurate, or was that something that when they went outside?
The percentage that they would actually close the door behind them, it's very minimal.
But they haven't done it in the past, though, correct?
It's usually, Daniel, even I don't close the door all the way sometimes.
Oh, okay. And so it was all the way shut.
Yeah, it was all the way shut. Fully all the way shut.
That is weird.
So, and some of the investigators, when they were here, they came all the way down to the bedroom, sat on the bed, and we had a dead quiet. And they tried to open up the door. Well, I think it was Mom who went out there and opened and just closed the door, and you couldn't hear it from inside the bedroom, sitting on the bed with the bedroom door shut.
Yeah.
So,
is the door heavy?
It is heavy, but when the kids got their hands on it, they would have to put both hands on it, and they could slide it closed.
Okay.
So it is possible for them to close it. They just need to, work at closing it.
Now, so you wake up because there's been some time that you guys haven't heard the kids anymore, correct?
I woke up when Malaya woke me up. I'm pretty sure it was her who woke me up, because we both kind of like woke up at the same time.
Mhm.
And I remember her saying, as it says in the documents, she said, I don't hear them. But the craziest thing was when I woke up, it was in the first 5 seconds that she said, I don't hear them.
Okay.
And usually you would have to wait a couple seconds, you know what I mean? Or like 30 seconds or something like that, because it could be in the fridge, because that's usually what everything goes quiet when they're, grabbing food or doing something, right?
Yeah.
It's
And
like,
so-
right, DT, I want you to believe me here, right? Like that's what your kid does too, right? That's what I think of every time he says right. I feel like it's his way of like wanting us to say, right, yeah, I get it, right. Which is concerning. There's so much stuff that's concerning, you guys. There's so much stuff, but I will report that of all the people in chat so far, not one of you have said, oh, knock it off. It's so common. Like leave the kids, not the kids, leave him alone. This is so common to get black eyes. I think that was important. When I hear about the black eyes, that is a red flag to me, because you could have 5 boys. There's a mother of 5 boys somewhere in one of the YouTube streets every year. And I bet they would even tell you that even with 5 boys that, I'm sure some of them had black eyes, but at the same time, somebody else brings up a good comment that if they were autistic and on their tippy toes, that could have maybe increased their chances of this occurring. And although I do agree with you, I will also say that during the interviews, and you guys, if I get anything wrong, please, respectfully, please put it in the chat so that, Truth or Cuff You or Harlot or any of my mods can make note of it so that I can look into it after, because you guys have to remember, I literally just started looking at this case on Friday day. So I went live with Daniel Friday night, and then we went live again on Sunday, and now I'm live tonight. So this is literally, I'm 4 days in, and Saturday you can consider that I wasn't able to do anything because I had another prior engagement. So I am literally just coming in on this. So please forgive me if I do get anything, if I'm off on anything, and please feel free to let me know what you know. Does anybody else see here? I don't know. This is just a visual thing for me. Does anybody else see here that he looks like he's gained a lot more weight here? Like he looks more healthy here than he did at the time, at 5 months ago, let's say.
So she wakes you up. Would you have noticed?
Well, I think she woke me up, right? We kind of woke
This story changes too, right? One minute he woke her up, the next minute she woke him up.
up at the same time, but I really don't know.
Now
Would
you
you
don't
have
know.
noticed if she got out of bed?
No, I would have been sleeping. I didn't even know she called the kids in absent until I got the email on my phone.
Well, I mean, you woke up when Lily popped her head in, right? So you were.
Yes, I did. Because there's a lock on the door, right?
Yeah.
And I heard like the lock rattle.
So do you think though that in the time that Lily popped her head in, and that
You guys, is he like holding his cell phone? Who does that? I mean, I'm sure I have at some point, but not to do like an interview that I know I'm going to be doing with someone. That's like a 2-hour interview. Is he going to hold his phone the whole time? That's a little strange. But I almost forgot about the autism thing. Although I do agree about that, about if you're on your toes, you're more likely to then fall or whatever. I do agree with that 100%. What I don't know is were the kids ever diagnosed with autism. From what I can remember, and again, I'm just getting into this. From what I can remember, this was self-reported by the 2 parents, and they even go as far as making it seem like the school wanted them to get the diagnosis as well. And I'm like, I don't know. You guys, every live, my dog Thor has to make himself known because he's like jealous of my attention. So that was Thor right there. I apologize. He's looking at me like, what'd I do?
woke you up? It alerted you a little bit, and the time that you fully woke up, do you think you would have been able to tell? Would you have the ability to tell whether or not Malaya got out of bed?
I don't know. Do you want to say that over again for me so I get I was just plugging in my phone, so I didn't hear you correctly.
No problem. So if you're already have been woken up, Lily's popping in, so you've already woken up to a certain extent, maybe not fully awakened, but you've woken up to the point where you've acknowledged that the child has come in and out. Do you think in that moment, maybe not earlier, maybe not early in the morning, but from the moment that you were awoken, from the time that Lily popped her head in to the time that you were fully awake, do you think that Malaya could have gotten out of bed without you noticing?
I think she could have,
This was a good question.
But you have to remember too, the baby was laying on her arm as well.
Oh,
So like the baby was sleeping on top of her right arm.
so it's unlikely that she got out of bed.
Yeah, I mean, it's unlikely, but it is possible. I mean,
You guys, do you see here? And again, I don't know, maybe it's just me and I'm reacting to him. And just to put this out there, this is just based on my opinion. It's based on my book over there, right? So I have a whole dissertation and research that I've done. I've been teaching for over 20 years at the college and university level. I'm actually on fall break tonight already from one of my universities, which is why I was even available to do this tonight. So maybe it was like meant to be. But I don't know, you guys. He's, again, this is just based on my opinion, but there's something that rubs me so wrong about a lot of the things he says.
anything's possible, but
Oh, I know what I was going to say. He wants to blame the mom and make it look like, so if anybody's just, coming in on this in the beginning like us, from what I understand, him and his mom believe, or say that they believe, that Malia took the kids to a reservation so that CPS there can like make a determination so that he doesn't see his kids. I don't know. It's a whole thing. I don't even want to go even forward with the rest of that because I feel like I'm giving life to it and we don't need to. Because here, right, when DT holds his feet to the fire and he's like, so you don't think she could have gotten out of bed? He's like, nah. And then he's like, well, it's possible. So it's like, it has to fit his narrative, right? So she would have had to get out of bed. And so it would have had to have been possible for her to get out of bed without him knowing in order for their hypothesis to have any weight.
I think Meadow may have be woken up when she's actually moving.
Got you. And
But
so,
it is possible, Daniel.
He said Meadow might have woken up if she was moving. I think he meant that she might have woken up with Meadow moving, but I think he's also a little bit nervous here. He just did the lick thing again.
I mean, anything's possible. This case is just an absolute circus, so anything's possible.
And so, so she wakes up. You wake up. What's the first thing that you do?
First thing I do when I wake up is, I mean, Malaya's right beside me, and she says, "You like hear the kids?" And then I listen for a few seconds. I said, "No, I don't hear them." So first thing I do is when I don't hear them, I get up and I, get dressed, and me and her make our way out to the kitchen. And this thing I still find odd to this day, I told investigators this, is Malaya didn't look in Jack and Lily's room when we went out and walked to the kitchen, right?
Okay.
So I found that odd because we both walked up together up the hallway to the kitchen. And then I poked my head I looked into the living room, didn't see the kids. I ran back to the room, looked underneath their beds and stuff, didn't see them.
You guys, I'm reacting to this for the first time right here. Although I had it on the other night when Daniel was doing this, I definitely was not able to hear it 100% because I don't even remember this part. This is driving me bananas. He literally just said that she didn't look in the room. Well, did you? He says afterwards he looks in the room and then he looks under I don't know, you guys. This is just wow to me.
So then we made our way outside. Right, Malaya stood in the kitchen when I was running like a moron through the house looking for the kids, and we made our way outside. We got through the fence, and then we're standing right in front of Mom's RV, and she asked me, "Should I call 911?" Right, that's kind of instinctual. You want to do that, right?
Right.
Because we don't hear them out in the yard. We never seen them in the house. We don't see them in the backyard. I didn't know if Mom was even home or not, right? Because I thought she might have went with my Uncle Ron.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the tongue.
She's on the phone with 911. I run up into the woods where the cabins are and look in the cabins, look around the area. Didn't see them. I'm screaming, yelling, Lily and Jack, Lily and Jack, Lily and Jack. And then I make my way down. There's a hill behind Mom's RV. I make my way down and Malaya's standing there. I'm not sure if she's still on the phone with 911. She might have been on speakerphone. It looks like she was messaging, but she might have been on speakerphone with the dispatch. And so I say, I'm jumping in the car. So I ran inside. I tried to go into the front door. Door's locked. Ran through the back door, the back sliding door, got into the house. grabbed the keys off the end table because there was 2 sets of keys, right? And I didn't take my phone. Well, I don't remember taking my phone because there's no service out there anyway. Not like I can use
Oh my
it.
gosh, you guys. He just said that he didn't take his phone. Remember when we were on the show the other night? DT was saying that they would have known from his phone, like moving around with his phone. And I said, but what if, and even DT said he could have left his phone in the house. He just said that he didn't. He's like, I don't even know if I took my phone.
So I left my phone on the end table. I'm pretty sure I left it on the end table. Investigators would know that for 100%. So
And-
grab my
Oh, there we go. There it goes. So the investigators would know that 100%. Again, you guys, I want you to look at this in the way of why is he telling us this stuff? So for me, if he's saying something, when we hear stuff like the investigators or right, I feel like that is a way of trying to get us to believe him, you guys.
keys, grabbed my key or grabbed the keys, ran out to the Nissan Pathfinder, and that's when I started to search the dirt roads and the culverts, right? So I went up Lansdowne Road, and I already told investigators this, but that blanket was not there in that tree.
Which direction were you?
He goes right to the blanket about the blanket being in the tree. DT's not even like near that yet, but he jumps to it. The thing about the licking, you guys, the only reason, and this is the thing, is somebody who does like behavior. I have a bachelor's, a master, like I have all of my things in behavior now, human behavior. So I have my bachelor's, my master's in human behavior. I did my entire dissertation on identity development. So I looked at how social media messages affect identity development of 18 to 24-year-old college students. So, and I have my doctorate in educational research. So it's in higher ed and in research. So it's literally, I have my top degree in psychology. You can't go any further. The only thing I could have did further was do research in it, which I eventually do, but I wanted to broaden my horizon. And if I look back now, it might've been easier for me to just get my PsyD because I know psychology. I know that that's one thing I know. When I went for higher education, research and administration, it was like a whole new world to me. So it was something I could challenge myself to. Back at this, the reason I even bring that up, I would never bring up a facial tic. I would never bring up, I would never disparage anything. If you look at his other interviews, he does not do this that much at all in most of his interviews. I only see it the few times that I'm like, wait, what? And I go to rewind it, but I see it a lot in this interview. So that makes me wonder, does DT make him nervous? Like, because he has to know that DT was a cop, right? And that he's had to do interrogations before. So my question to you right now would be, could that be a sign of him just being, not just, but him being nervous that DT's questioning him the way that he is? Because I feel like in some other interviews, the questions weren't, not that the questions were bad, but I feel like they could have been directed in a way that might have stumped him a little bit more. That's all.
That
Where
would be
Daniel, I think,
coming
does
out
a
the end
good
of the
job.
driveway, and I'm going right toward Lansdowne Road, over the tracks, and then hanging a hard right.
So you were coming the direction that would have been visible to you, and you didn't see it.
Yeah, I'd be going right out of the end of the driveway. I take a right. I'm going up the road.
Across the railroad tracks, and then the right up of the dirt road.
Yeah, that's Lansdowne Road where the blanket was found.
All right. So when you're running around and as you're going outside and you're looking, that gate outside, is it always open? Was it unlocked? Was it locked?
Sometimes it's open.
Was it open that morning?
I do not remember that. I don't remember I don't remember.
Okay. And so you come
It's
around.
not hard. It's not hard to open up gates anyway. They're just slide. Like, I always forget to close. My mom always reminds me, but they're just a slide and bolt lock, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing hard about those locks at all.
Well, maybe not, but I'm just kind of curious because if you can unlock it and open it, but if you're on the other side of the fence and you're small, can you reclose it?
Yeah, you can. You can. All you do is just pull the fence close to you and then close it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so it may not be a clue there. So you're out there searching in the woods. How long before law enforcement arrived?
I was told 12 minutes.
Okay.
But then when I looked at the documentation and, asked questions and dug further, it was 22 minutes, I do believe.
And were you at the house when they arrived?
I was actually when they were arriving, I was actually coming back to the house in the car, and I couldn't park in the driveway because RCMP just stopped in the yard, right?
Okay.
Is they were just starting to walk down and talk to Malaya. So what I did is I parked the white Nissan Pathfinder, because that's the car Malaya owns, the 2017 Nissan white Pathfinder, and I parked over on the right hand side of the marsh, going toward Lansdowne Road. There's a marsh that's right beside the house there. Probably can pull that up on the map. There's a little driveway that's right beside it. It's about 100 feet from the house.
Okay.
He said you could probably pull that up. Thanks.
Yeah, that's actually the marsh, and there's a little driveway right on the left hand side right there. Yep. That's where I parked in the white Nissan Pathfinder.
Okay.
And then when I jumped out of the car, the RCMP yelled at me from in the yard, right? Because they could see me clearly.
Yeah.
And they said, "Daniel, don't go back into the woods." So at that point, I didn't go back into the woods. I walked over to the house.
What? The actual what? It said, "Daniel, don't go back into the woods." I feel like in another interview, he got me a little bit here by just saying that they didn't want him to go into the woods. I don't remember him saying that there was a sign that said, "Daniel, don't go in the woods." Does anybody else remember that?
House, and I went down. I was talking to my mother because the RCMP just, officers just swarmed Malaya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they asked you to stay there. They asked her to stay there. Did they look into your Pathfinder or the Pathfinder? Did they search it?
No, they didn't at all. No.
At any point?
Not that I know of.
Now, was this the vehicle that
Here's
went with
the tongue.
Malaya? Like, I think it was towed later.
Yeah, it was actually towed by Commander of Operations. The guy's name is Josh. And he was actually pretty pissed about where they left it. They left it right at the bottom of Lansdowne Road when they left.
Interesting. And so
I see a lot of self-soothing, you guys. So touching the hair, touching his face, touching his shirt. Now, I just went like that. I have an itch on my face, right? So people could have an itch. Absolutely. It wasn't until I saw it in combo that I stopped it to say.
So he was pretty pissed about it. He said what he said is that goddamn fucking vehicle's always in the way of the search vehicles, right? So he said he's like, I had it towed out of here. It was White River Towing or something like that.
okay.
Yeah, he wasn't happy about where it was left because they use that road quite a bit.
And you don't, I mean, when it was towed, were you still in communication with Malaya?
No.
Okay.
And my wallet was left in the car when it was towed. And then when I got my wallet back, everything was taken out except for my actual important stuff, like my driver's license, my bank card, my health card. All that stuff was still in there, but all the other stuff was taken.
So a good question right here would have been, what other stuff did you have in your wallet?
Interesting. And did the investigators ever tell you that they didn't search it?
No, they didn't.
Okay, so there's a possibility that they searched it and just you're just not aware.
Look, he did. Look, he's getting nervous.
That is true. That could be true. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, they can't tell me everything. So.
Right, and it is her vehicle.
I think DT makes him nervous.
So I'm not sure if they
I'd
would
be
come out
nervous
and
too.
say, "Hey, we searched her vehicle to you."
Yeah. Well, I mean, they tell me lots of things, but it's just some things they don't.
Well, I'll ask you this: did they search your other vehicles on the property?
I'm not totally sure. For the first couple of days, like I wasn't at the house, but I imagine they did.
That question is making him so. Look, I just stopped it on the tongue, you guys. This question is making him so nervous. I have not seen this. If I were investigators, I would go back in my notes to see what did we get on the cars, if anything. And if we didn't look into the car, why not? Or any of the cars. But this question makes him nervous.
Okay. Well, I would imagine that they would have. That would have been a really big oversight to not do that. And I'm my assumption is just an assumption that the reason you don't know about it obviously is because, well, Malaya and you weren't talking. So at this point, you arrive. Officers are talking to Malaya. How long before the search team gets there?
The search team was actually fairly quickly. They actually had the command center and everything set up pretty fast. They had a lot of different, I don't know what you would call them, search teams or dispatchments of different units.
Okay, take notice. He just talked for a good 30 seconds. I was counting. Maybe I went a little bit fast in my head, so maybe about 20, 25 seconds. Not one time did his tongue come out. I believe what he's saying here.
There's 23 different search organizations or search teams in Nova Scotia from each area. They have a total of 23.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if all 23 made it here, but there was some from the South Shore. I mean, tons, a lot from all over Nova Scotia. And they had the Nova Scotia Guard called in. And the first helicopter arrived on scene within the first hour and a half, which was, I do believe that I was told
No
that's a
tongue.
record for making the first helicopter was searched.
That is pretty impressive. An hour and a
Yeah.
half. And the dogs.
But they had drones out. They had drones out much quicker than that. They had drones up within the first 30 to 40 minutes, I think.
Oh wow! And
Yeah,
how long before the dogs got there?
The dogs came much later. They were there that day, but for the first, I don't know when the dogs actually showed up, but for the first few hours there was no dogs. There was no dogs in the New Glasgow area. We don't even have a canine unit in New Glasgow right now.
This whole entire thing that he's saying right here, this whole segment, I actually buy, I buy that he buys it.
Like in Pictou County. So in Major Crimes told me
Oh,
that
there
they
was a
said that
ton
we
of
don't
things.
have a canine unit in Pictou County anymore.
Gotcha.
So a lot of the resources are coming from northeastern Major Crimes, which is the Truro area,
Understood.
like 45 minutes to an hour away.
So it did take him some time to get up.
Yeah, but we had the best search dogs in the province at the house. They belong to Halifax Search and Rescue.
Good deal. And so you weren't allowed to go into the woods. Where were you at during this time?
I was actually back by Mom's RV talking to her, and we were wondering why we couldn't go back into the woods. And then a number of minutes passed. I'd say about 10 to 15 minutes passed, and a guy in military gear, it said Oliver on the back of his on his shirt or vest or whatever you want to refer to it as, or uniform, we'll call it.
Yeah.
He actually said, Daniel, you can go back into the woods. And I actually believe he was later on. He was a canine handler, but I don't know if the dog was there yet at that point.
Understood.
Because I remember seeing him with a canine unit, I'm pretty sure, later on in the search.
And so you were allowed to go back in the woods?
Yeah. And then I immediately jumped the fence and I was right back into the woods, and I did all the streams that were up behind the house that lead into that little marsh that's actually to the left of the house you showed.
No, he does not feel comfortable. You guys, oh my God. This is like worse than I even thought it was going to be. You guys, he just talked for like a good 3 minutes, does not put his tongue out one time until DT asks him about the search dogs. That's when he starts to get visibly nervous again. I think that he thinks that the dogs have cleared him more than he already thinks he's cleared. I do believe that he believes his own stuff. I mean, you know what I mean? Like that if he's thinking that we believe his stuff is what I should be saying. So I think that he thinks we're all buying it. This all makes sense. But his facial expressions and his movements and his tongue, he is very expressive at certain times, and then other times he's not. So I just tell you to watch this, looking for that, and take notice of the difference. Even how he talks during those times.
I don't know how true this is. I've heard rumors of this, that at some point you heard a scream and you thought it sounded like the kids. When was
that? That was later on. That would have been, it was still on that same stream path when I was walking up through the woods.
Okay.
I thought I heard a scream, but you have to remember, I had a helicopter right above me. There was drones. There was already people searching at this point. So I don't know if
Did anybody see that? Did anybody see him do that? Oh my gosh, you guys, he is so expressive, this one.
Actually a child scream or not, but it did sound like a scream, but it could have been somebody yelling for the kids, right?
Right. It could have been somebody else yelling for the kids, right? So that way, if we find out that there's some sort of surveillance and nobody yells, and I heard nothing, that you guys can't say that I was lying, because it could have been something else, right?
Possible too, yes, 100%.
But it was so hard to tell because the way the helicopter was going, it was going slow and doing. I was I almost swear I could feel the rotor wash that was coming down off of the wind, because sometimes they would go pretty low because the vegetation was pretty dense, because a lot of it's not hardwood, so there's no leaves, right? It's evergreen, so you have trees that are full of needles, so it's much more hard to get a good view from a helicopter through that stuff.
Yeah, no, I can imagine it being very difficult.
Okay, so at the very end, he does the tongue and a bit deep swallow, but the entire time before. So what I noticed is, and again, I haven't been in this case long enough, but what I'm taking notice, at least here, is I will give him that maybe at the end, in between what he says and him getting validation, if we believe him or if Daniel believes him, or sorry, you guys, whoever's listening or not at the time, if we believe him, I think during that second or so, it makes him nervous and we see the tongue. But if you guys took notice, if we went back earlier in the video, which I won't, but if we went back earlier in the video, he was doing it a lot. And now here, he only does it at the very end in between the pauses when DT is coming up with what he's going to say next or how he's going to respond. I think the other thing here that we should note real quick before I keep going is that because DT wears glasses, DM can't see his eyes. So that probably is even more stressful because when you look at someone's eyes, I feel like I'm very expressive too. I feel like when I'm watching this, you guys can tell on my face the parts that I'm like, huh? Because I make facial expressions and stuff. But you could see in my eyes certain things. We read nonverbal communication. DT is very just calm. He's got his glasses on. So I don't think DM is able to read much into DT's body language. And I think that that's got to be scary in itself.
Point that first day, did they question you guys at all as far as maybe perhaps?
Yeah, I actually sat in my mother's vehicle and commander of operations.
He's like, I know this answer.
Command center, and me and him sat in there, and we went over some of the stuff we're going over right now. Did you know the kids are going to be home from school that day? Would you have kept the kids home from school that day? What happened in the morning? Did you see the kids that morning? This is a lot of the similar questions you're asking.
All right, I call bullshit. Why would they say, would you have kept them home that day? It's one thing to say, why were the kids home that day? Okay, they weren't feeling good. I don't know that they would be like, well, would you have kept them home?
Give me now.
Yeah.
He was home. Wouldn't that be part of his decision? And he does it hard time, that tongue thing right there.
Yeah, I can imagine so. And, that happened that first day. So nighttime comes in. Around what time does the search stop on the first day?
The search doesn't stop on the first day. They go right through the night.
Interesting. And when are you notified about a blanket?
If we're referring to the blanket that was up in the tree, or
right,
just the blanket in general.
Well, let's rewind then. So there's been a lot of confusion that you had denied that the blanket in the tree was Lily's that ended up being Lily's. Was there another blanket that was found out there?
There is actually another blanket. There's a full pink blanket. I was shown a picture of it, splayed out on the ground. Officer Karen Mason showed me that. She was involved in quite a bit of the, just back and forth stuff between the command center and me and Malaya and mom and, some of the people involved, and just trying to relay information, keep us up to date and stuff like that.
And this pink blanket that they found, was it something that they found close to the house? Or
I'm not sure the location where it was found. There was a pink blanket. There was a water bottle. There was a children's T-shirt, and there may have been a sock or socks too, showing me as well. But none of them belonged to Lily's, right? I mean, none of them were Lily's. None of them were Jack's.
Do you know if all those items were found at the same place?
He said none of them belong to Lily's, right? You guys, isn't there only 100 people in the whole town? Whose stuff is all that? I'm just curious, and I'm not even being like snarky here. I'm legit asking, like, whose stuff is this stuff? Like, if there's only like 100 people, I don't know. So wait, real quick, I don't understand how, if the bedroom door was locked, how did Lily keep peeping in? Great question.
Place, or were they found throughout?
I'm not sure where they were found. I was just told that, are any of these items Lily and Jack's? We found them during the search.
Were they photographed together?
No, they were not photographed. They were photographed individually.
Okay, so the most likely then they were not found together.
Yeah.
And around what time was this blanket, the full one that didn't belong to them? When was that one found?
That was found. It would have been during the daytime. So because I remember I was actually standing on the front deck when she brought her phone up to show me. So that would have been sometime during the day. So I'm saying between noon and 4 p.m. probably.
So, 4 is when they found the pink blanket that was Lily's. That was a portion of the blanket, correct?
Yeah. I'm not sure on the exact time on that either. It would have to be after 4 because the school bus goes up there around 4 o'clock.
Okay, you guys. So he seems really sure about that, but the question just before, he was not sure about the one that was in between 12 and 4.
Gotcha. And
Because that school bus, it goes up and it actually goes up and turns on my Uncle Ron's house, which is about 500 feet
Because Daniel knows where Uncle Ron lives.
past where the blanket was found.
gotcha.
And the bus usually goes up
That's
there,
all.
and the bus usually makes its way up there around, I don't know, 3:55, between 3:55 and like 4 o'clock.
And
So,
this bus has cameras, correct?
Yeah, the buses do have cameras. When they looked at the footage from the outside of the buses, the blanket was not there.
Interesting. And it went both directions, correct? It went,
Yeah, they both go both directions. They have multiple buses.
and it was not seen at 3:55, 4 o'clock when the bus passed.
No, they said they did not see it on any camera footage from the buses. So
That is, how far is the search command from where the blanket was?
did you notice, you guys, that he went like this? I want you to do this. If you think, I'm going to challenge you right now. If you think, if anything catches you as far as facial things and stuff that he does, even with his hands, I want you to reenact it yourself to see if it feels awkward for you. So if somebody does something like just do it yourself and see if that feels awkward to do. And if it does, it doesn't mean that it definitely is awkward or anything, but it could mean that there's stress going on here and that the person's nervous. And this is coming from one who gets nervous herself.
from the piece of Lily's blanket that was found in the tree, the actual command center itself,
Yeah.
it is okay. When you look at Lansdowne Station Road on the map,
Uh-huh.
I'll just wait for you here to set that up, and then we can take a look.
Yeah,
I'll
I got it.
give you the exact location.
So here is, do you see it?
Yeah, so that is Lansdowne Station Road. As soon as you're going up Lansdowne Station Road, you go across a little bridge.
It's this direction?
Lansdowne Station.
Oh, this direction. Okay.
Yeah. So Lansdowne Station Road, they go over a little tiny bridge.
Okay.
I don't know.
Have I gone too far?
Yeah, it goes right on Lansdowne Station Road there. There's a little bridge when you're going down. And then you see, when you're seeing right around that turn there, that's where it is. You just headed on it. Right
So
past that
around
little
here.
dirt road there, that little gravel pit dirt road. Yeah.
Why?
No,
I'm just curious, but why would they make
now it's
command
there because
so
Daniel's
far
looking.
south of where you guys live? Did they say anything about that by any chance?
I'm not sure the actual reasoning for making it there. I know it's a road they had a long stretch going down that hill, going to the command center, so everybody could park their cars. Because there was hundreds of cars there, Daniel.
Now,
Search vehicles. They had to move in, RCMP SUVs and everything, right?
Right?
so how long after law enforcement arrived at
That really made him
did
uncomfortable,
the,
you guys.
command post get set up? Was that like the first thing that happened? Was that
I'm not
long?
sure. I was actually in the woods for a lot of that, Daniel. So I don't have like a clear time that was set up. Clear time that I could say the setup began or.
Did anyone catch that Freudian slip? I did not have a clear time to set up. Or wait, how did he say it? Because he said it better than what I just did. Oh, I don't want to I don't know how to go back 10 seconds. Of course, I don't know. But I'm afraid to go back. But if you guys go back 5-10 seconds, he literally says something about a time, to set up a time instead of a time to set up. It was said in the reverse, but when you say it, it seems like a slip almost.
Was completed.
So around what time were you notified, and how were you notified about the pink blanket that belonged to Lily?
The pink blanket that belonged to Lily, I wasn't notified at all about that. I was actually told there was a piece of a pink blanket that was found up the road in a tree, and I said, "Piece of a pink blanket." I put two and two together. I ran out to the garbage bin.
All right, this is going to be really important, you guys. I really want you to listen up. Before we get to that, though, I do want to say about the rugs. So although at first I was under the impression that, oh, yeah, maybe, I know that he has to do rug test in order to see his kids, right? And then and I would consider, just so you guys know, and a lot of people ask me this, if somebody's on methadone or Suboxone, do I consider them clean? And I do. So, and what do I mean by clean? I mean, they're not using the hard drug that they were using and that the methadone or the Suboxone is working to help them get off of or to stay off of that harder drug. So I do believe that if you're on Suboxone or methadone and you're taking it the way that you should be and that you're not abusing it and it's prescribed by a doctor, you should absolutely be able to see your kids and stuff or whatever the conditions are. Now, I will say this, take notice. The reason I'm not, I don't even think that he's using here. And one of the big things, I think you could see it, right? Like, look at his face and his body. I feel like he looks like he filled out more. He looks healthier here, as opposed to things that we saw before, right? So what do you guys think? So I'm curious as to what you think, Babbles and Dolls, because you work with addicts. So I work with students, you know what I mean? So tell me, what do you think? What is your view on whether you think he's using now? And also, do you think, in your opinion, he was using at the time of? And what do you guys know? I don't even know the answer to this. I want you to all listen real close to this next part, though, because this is one of my biggest, like, what?
And
you ran right to the trash.
There was a hole ripped in the bag. And
I feel like I have to try to go back.
Clearly, there was somebody who went into the garbage or something went on.
All right, let's try.
And I said, piece of a pink blanket. And I put two and two together. I ran out to the garbage bin, and I seen that there was a hole ripped in the bag, and clearly there was somebody who went into the garbage or something went on with the garbage for a piece of that to be ripped out. Because usually when you look in the garbage bin, Daniel, and you see a garbage bag, usually it doesn't have a hand-sized hole ripped in the side of it.
That's interesting. Now, the pink blanket, when they
Okay, you guys, did you just hear what he said? This is my question to you, because we're going to hear it one more time, because I want you guys to really hear what he says. I want you to hear how he says that it looks like somebody put their hands right through it and ripped a hole. And then 1 second later says it looks like somebody got their hand and put it in the bag and ripped it right out. Those two things, I don't know how they're true at the same time. The other thing is, how did you know to run back to the trash? Like, if somebody found, hopefully I'm never in this situation, right? But if somebody found the blanket or the piece of the blanket, I mean, I guess you could say, because the answer I got from DT was, or from somebody like when I was on DT, was that maybe they were, I know what it was. They supposedly said that they used the blanket for a draft and that it was getting warmer out. So they were, cleaning up and they threw it out. This is my only problem with that, right? Oh my God, did you just hear what I said? I don't even think I did that on purpose. I think I've listened to so many things that I just said right. Oh my gosh, I don't ever want to do that. Sorry about that. My thing is this. So you could say that they threw it out, sure. But do any of you have like little girls? If I tried to throw out a blanket of my kids, especially a pink one, there'd be an issue, I think. So let's just go back, and I want you guys to hear this again.
And I said, piece of a pink blanket. And I put two and two together. I ran out to the garbage bin, and I seen that there was a hole ripped in the bag, and clearly there was somebody who went into the garbage or something went on with the garbage for a piece of that to be ripped out. Because usually when you look in the garbage bin, Daniel, and you see a garbage bag, usually it doesn't have a hand-sized hole ripped in the side of it.
He almost looks excited to say that. And then look, he does the tongue and even rolls his lips here, which makes me feel like he's uncomfortable saying this. So I feel like part of his brain has to know that this just sounds ridiculous. Number one, why did you run back to the bag and look in the trash bag, right? number two, how did you know, even if you want to say that theory that they were throwing out the stuff at the end because it was getting nicer out, let's say that's true. How did you run back and be like, oh, that must be the pink blanket from our trash? Number three, why didn't you do the same thing with the other blanket? Number four, he gets way too excited to say it looks like somebody's hand went right in there, which makes me think that it does look like a hand went right through there. I don't know how it got there though, but I want you to listen to the next part.
That's interesting. Now, the pink blanket, when they told you about it, did they show you a picture?
The piece of the blanket? No.
Oh no, they
So they
didn't.
just told you they found a piece, and you went to the garbage bin, and
Yeah.
where
One
in the
detail.
garbage bin was the bag that had the other
Look,
part of the blanket?
you
Was it
guys,
towards
I
the
Okay,
can't help it. I'm sorry. I don't mean to keep going to do this. You guys, just take notice. DT says exactly what I just said, that, you know, I would be like, what the heck? So DT asks him, and look at his reaction.
These were like large industrial sized garbage bags.
Wait,
right?
hold on. I don't think I went back far enough.
And mom would always yell at me, you know,
Oh,
don't
and he always goes to
throw the
mom
whole
when he
rip
feels
in the
uncomfortable.
bag. And clearly there was somebody who went into the garbage or something went on with the garbage for a piece of that to be ripped out. Because usually when you look in the garbage bin, Daniel, and you see a garbage bag, usually it doesn't have a hand-sized hole ripped in the side of it.
All right, watch. This is where I get nervous.
Now, the pink blanket, when they told you about it, did they show you a picture? The piece?
The piece of the blanket? No.
Oh, okay.
No.
So they
Look-
just told you they found a piece, and you went to the garbage bin, and
Yeah.
where in the garbage bin was the bag that had the other part of the blanket? Was it towards the
Okay,
top, in the middle,
there
the
was-
bottom?
These were like large industrial sized garbage bags, right?
Okay.
And mom would always yell at me, you know, don't put so much garbage in one bag. Because I would always make the bags like really heavy, right?
What
Okay.
always
And
does.
So I had the blanket was in a garbage bag, but there was another garbage bag that was inside, right? So it was like double bagged,
Interesting.
and you could see I keep wanting to say a hole that was ripped in the side from a hand that went down inside of it, and you know pulled something out, but it looked to be like somebody put their hand in there and ripped it out.
Okay, those two things can't be true. How do you put your hand in and pull something out, and then at the same time say that somebody puts their hand in and rips something out? Did you guys hear what I just heard? Because that doesn't make quite sense to me.
Bagged.
Interesting.
And you could see I keep wanting to say a hole that was ripped in the side from a hand that went down inside of it, and you know pulled something out, but it looked to be like somebody put their hand in there and ripped it out. But
Now,
the
well,
bag, the blanket was still at the bottom of the bag, right? It wasn't pulled all the way out. It wasn't anything like that. So
was the trash bag in the bottom of the can or on top of like all the other trash?
I was the garbage bag, that one big garbage bag, that was like a 60-pound garbage bag. and it was that was the only bag that was in there.
So I asked DT about this the other night, and I think he thought that he said 60-gallon bag. Did he say 60-pound bag? I mean, I'm not saying that there's not a such thing. I didn't even realize. That's a lot of trash, right? How do you then, I mean, I guess you could carry 60 pounds out of the trash and put, you know, I don't know. Like, how do you get that to wherever you get it to? I almost said to the curb, but you guys know what I mean. Like, how does that work? And did anybody notice that he said, I would always put instead of I always put? Like, why is it in the past tense? He still lives there with his mom. Doesn't he still do the trash? Just saying.
Okay, so there wasn't
that
any
one?
other trash on top.
No,
of it.
there was nothing else piled on top of it or underneath it.
So if somebody opened the bin, that's the first thing that they would see.
Yeah, they would be able to see the pink blanket in there. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, how could they see the pink blanket, you guys, if it's a 60-pound bag and the blanket's at the bottom? Just, I don't know.
And so it seems like in the documents that it alludes that they showed you guys a picture and that you guys confirmed it. Was that, if you didn't see a picture, do you know if Malaya did?
I'm not sure if she did or not. I have no idea. Because I actually wasn't present
believe
at
that.
the house very much during the search because I was just out in the woods searching, man.
Understood.
Like
And so-
I poured my heart and soul into just searching as hard as I could.
I can imagine.
You guys, come on. He poured his heart and soul into searching the best that he could. Huh? I don't know. Why would someone feel the need to say that? And again, he looks so uncomfortable saying this stuff. And the thing is that somebody could say, okay, well, maybe he's just uncomfortable at whatever. That's fine. However, he does so many interviews. And there are so many times, even in this interview, where he does not look stressed. So when he was talking a few minutes ago, he didn't look stressed. He actually looked like Daniel asked him a question that he was able to answer without having to like think about what he said before. So like you could see the parts. I just feel like, and again, I'm only like 4 days in to my digging here, and not even 4 days, like a couple hours on 3 days, not even a couple hours on 2 days. So I'm still in the beginning of this. So please tell me if I'm like seeing this wrong. But do you guys see red flags with him, or is it just me? Because I caught the end of Alive today, and I only caught it, not only, but I mean, I caught it. I was clicking through and I saw Daniel up there. So I was like, oh, DT Daniel. And I was like, oh, and then I saw me and I was like, oh my God. Because that, of course, is going to make you nervous when you see yourself on panel. When somebody who's, and these are like big creators that they're a lot bigger than I am. So I'm always like, oh my God, like I'm just starting with it. And so far, so good. But I've only seen what 2 creators had to say. But other than that, and I literally caught it at the tail end, but it seems like that I'll be doing a live. We'll talk about that if it ever comes to fruition, but hopefully I could get more information from you guys to see what everybody's feeling out there, because I want to know, am I on an island of my own? Could I be so somebody asked me if it was gaslighting, but I thought that there was a good point to this, but at the same time, I see that too. That would it be gaslighting if someone said that my profession might skew the way I look at this? And I could say in one end, yes, and in the other end, it could be a true statement too, right? So I need you guys to tell me, what are you thinking? So many of you have been on this case since day one, and I have such a respect for that. So you guys are 5 months into this, and 3 days, not even. So please let me know. Am I on an island of my own? Does anybody else see? Because I feel like I could be like messing with the wrong crowd here, because when DT show, right? DT is very well respected. So I don't know. I think sometimes you just assume that everybody feels the way that creator feels. And let's be honest, you guys, most of you are from DT show, not mine. So I don't know. Am I on an island of my own? Do you guys also see this?
I can imagine.
You could be honest.
And you're out there searching. Did you find out that night, or was it the next day, about the boot prints?
I actually found out, I think it was the next day. And then when I asked investigators when the boot print was found, they told me they weren't sure on the exact time it was found, but they thought it was found during the middle of the night.
Okay. And I know, and I made a mistake, guys, and I want to premise this was my mistake. I had indicated that this image here was a representation of what they had seen with the bare feet and the footprints. I went back and read my conversation with Daniel, so I just wanted to clarify it. What he said was that this picture, he had problems with it because he couldn't understand why a third person came, but this wasn't something that was shown to him by investigators. Kind of clarify, where did this image come from?
That image originally came from Maritime Happenings. Mom actually received it from Malaya. So Malaya sent it to my mother, and then Mom and my brother came home on the ATV from where they were searching, to talk to Malaya, see what this photo was about. But it was actually Maritime Happening, which originally posted it, and that came from one of the searchers, I guess.
Understood. So it wasn't something that you saw from the investigators or from the search.
No, it wasn't anything like that.
Did they ever tell you that there was 3 prints?
I don't actually remember that, but that picture always just bugged me. And then even if they did tell me there was 3 prints, like that doesn't make sense to me, Daniel.
Yeah.
I mean, when 2 kids are missing, they don't gain a follower to go missing with.
Right. And here, just to kind
So real quick, before we go on to the next thing, I do want to say, so like I said in the beginning, and there's a lot more people here now than there was in the beginning, I had like a little thing that I wrote in my notes so that I could say it when I came on, because I wanted to make sure that I was being respectful to DT Daniel, because let me be honest with you guys, he has been like a super good friend to me. Like he's been more of a friend to me than people that I've known forever. Like he's a really good guy. And I think right here, I think Auntie Taz Bonita, I think your comment is a good one, because you say you disagree with him on DM, right? So it's not that we disagree with him on everything, because I do want to make that clear, and I do want to be respectful, and I do understand that a lot of people see differently on this, as I'm reading right here. However, I do want to make sure, I wrote here, hey friends, thank you for joining me. I know this case has touched a nerve for so many of us, and I completely understand why. When children are missing, our hearts race ahead of us. I don't know why I wrote that, you guys. That didn't even make sense. Our hearts race ahead of us, and that's human. That's not what I meant to say. I meant to say our hearts are racing, and that's human. Like we get anxious is pretty much what I was saying. So I wrote that I'm here to talk tonight about something bigger than one person or one interview, that I want to talk about how we can talk about cases like this, how emotion, media, because that's what I did my dissertation on, and perception can collide in ways that either help or harm the search for truth, right? So my friend DT has been getting some criticism here, which I did know before I came on here. A few people like said something, Daniel, if you're listening, nobody said anything bad. It's just saying that they disagree. But I think that this is a great time to let everyone know that that's okay. I think I'm totally okay with if you disagree with me. As a matter of fact, I love going on DT, because I'll say to him, I'll be like, Daniel, come on. And then he'll say back to me, but look at this or whatever. And even if I don't agree after that, at least I got more info about it first. There's many times though that he'll say something and I'll be like, oh, I didn't know that. Okay, well, that makes sense. So I think that there's a place for us all to feel differently. And I think the other truth is so many of us are still confused. I don't know. I can't say that I 100% think, one way or the other yet. But what I'm saying here is that that I see red flags in this guy's interviews. And the more interviews I see of him, the more red flags I see and the more nervous I feel like he's getting. So this is the thing. There are a lot of responses here. And I don't know. I think if I tried to read them all, we would be here forever, because I don't realize that I asked such a question that was going to get such a reaction, and that's okay too. Hopefully everybody's being respectful here, and hopefully Truth and Cuff You and Harlot and stuff, whoever my mods are here, and thank you for being here. There you go. So let's just keep it, respectful, and hopefully everybody's keeping it respectful. If for some reason someone has like a question for me that you really want me to answer, I don't know, somehow like put something that'll differentiate it so that I see it, or whatever. I don't know, you guys, I'm trying. But I am getting to see that many of you do think that DM is shady. Okay. And you guys, hey, Dr. Vona, I see red flags too. That's what I'm saying, you guys. So that's what I'm saying. DT, I'm so glad you're here. DT, I don't know if and I don't want, yes, so we still appreciate him. Exactly. So that's what we're saying. So I don't know when you popped on, if you just came on or not, but nobody is saying anything disrespectful about you. I told them all that we are very good friends and that you've been more of a friend to me than some of the people that I've known my whole life, and that it's okay if we disagree on some things, but that the thing that I love most about coming on your show is that when I do have a question, I don't feel uncomfortable being like, come on, Daniel. And I don't think you feel uncomfortable about being like, come on, James, look at this. So I think that that's amazing, because there's a lot of times that you'll show me something and I'll be like, oh, how about that? I had no idea. And there's times that I'll say something and you'll be like, you know what? I totally agree with your assessment on that. So, but I did want to put that out there because DT, I don't want you to think that, and I would never allow that here, you guys. DT has helped me in ways that, again, people that I've known my whole life haven't. So I appreciate you, Daniel. Thank you so much. And I'm using your interview. See, you guys, this is the best thing too. We're friends like that. So if he tried to like copyright strike me, that would be effed up. I'd have to go to Texas and find him. You know what I mean? I'm only 4'11", but I'm Italian, so he should watch out for that. But I'm just saying, hopefully we're friends like that and we don't get a copyright strike. I'm just kidding, you guys.
I show everybody this is where the image came from. This is Malaya Brooks, and this was at 10:16 in the morning on May 3rd from Malaya to your mom. Your mom sent me this photo so that we could see that this is where the that message came from. Now, the location of the boot prints, it's near the pipeline, kind of somewhat in the direction of the pink blanket. If we I wanted to show you this and get your opinion on this. So the blanket was found here. There's a road that leads back up. Now I kind of just did a line here, but there, if you follow this road and you just follow this little path here, it gets you on the pipeline. I mean, sure enough, you're right in the middle between that road that they mentioned. Have you gone down this area yourself throughout any point?
No, I haven't. I haven't done any of that area at that point.
At any point? What about now? Like since they found the boot print and stuff like
No.
that? You ever gone out here? Okay.
No.
Now,
I thought that's a lot of that area was just searched with the human remains dog. So all that was just done.
You know, the other weird thing about this though is this is a dirt road, correct?
Where the piece of the Blanca was found.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually called the Gordon Summit Road. That actually used to be an actual road that was used quite a bit, but now over the years it was just used.
Real quick, I don't know what just happened, but I hope the mods delete it, whatever that was. You guys, we cannot be disrespectful here. That's the only thing that I ask. Like, I don't even have memberships on here, and I don't ask people to like donate and stuff. So I literally come on here because I love this and I love interacting with people and stuff. All I ask is please nobody be disrespectful here because that's just not cool. So thank you. Let's focus on Dr. Vona's thoughts and channel. I appreciate that. So let's get back to that. It's been disrespectful, the entire chat. I've been watching a little bit and the things that I've caught haven't been, but I also just saw that DT said, you know, that somebody was being disrespectful and I didn't see what that person wrote. So hopefully my mods are getting to them. You guys, this is probably why I did see somebody say that sometimes they get deleted over there too. I think people, and I'm not saying that if anybody's comments were deleted, please don't come for me. It's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is we all have to please, please, please respect each other here. Just like I'm going to give everybody respect here. That's all I ask for. I've only seen one comment. Thank you. Me too. I only saw one. I've been sent multiple screenshots. By who? Someone else said, I have not seen disrespectful. Okay, you guys. So I'm not going to do this either. So how about this? I'm going to hope that my mods are going to take care of this. And I'm just going to keep going because I don't want to sidetrack from what I'm doing here. I'm doing I'm really enjoying getting to know the process and learning the evidence. The last thing I want to do here is, yes, please keep it as adults, is to do any of this back and forth. I'm not into YouTube for that. So much so that I don't make any money here that I'd walk away.
Used for, they used it for logging. There's cutovers up there and stuff like that.
They didn't find any footprints around here, right? Where the blanket
No,
was?
not that I'm aware of, and that's all fresh gravel.
Yeah, that's weird, man.
That's all fresh gravel. That whole Lansdowne Road was totally redone. It's all fresh gravel. You would see any footprints that were put on there at that time.
So the second day comes, they tell you about the prints on about the boot prints.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about those boot prints? Who do you think they belong to?
I couldn't tell you. There's a lot of kids in the area. That's what I kind of think where they came.
Is there though, you guys? Isn't there like 100 people in the entire town? Is there a lot of kids? I don't know. Maybe there is.
But to find only one boot print, the kids would have had to walk up that hill, and there's a ton of mud there, Daniel. I mean, and the incline of that hill and that terrain is not easy for children. Just to walk.
I guess if the bus stop goes past here or the bus, then maybe. So see, there you go. I'm willing to look at things in multiple perspectives.
Walk up from the road to that pipeline would have probably taken over an hour. And by that time, the helicopters would have seen them if they were in the woods.
You know, the only problem with that is if there's mud there and it's muddy, if somebody went out there and planted them, where are their footprints?
That is correct, too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the main portion of the mud is actually on the actual four-wheeler trail that's on the pipeline. All the rest of the pipeline, for 90% of it, you know, it's all just moss and just, you know what I mean, grass or a marshy type grass.
Now,
but still, if you're walking along that, your footprints would have left indentations in the grass.
Yeah.
So somebody did make a good, I mean, that was a good point. I said somebody made a good point. It was DT, about if somebody planted the footprints, wouldn't there be another, like an adult footprint? But not only that, wouldn't there be like another footprint? I mean, what are the chances of just catching one, but there's a footprint there, right? So I don't think that somebody planted it, because wouldn't you also say that if there's a kid running around, I mean, I guess you could say the kid can run off like a little bit away from the parent, and that's why there's not feet print right next to it. So I guess that could be true too. But somebody mentioned in the chat that were their parents searching with children, which I always think that this is like, I don't know what you guys think, but that always, I go back and forth with that, because part of me would want, you know, depending on the age of the kid, maybe to have the kid get involved if they want, stuff like that. On the other hand, I'd be afraid that what if we found something, like how would that affect the kid going forward? So I do feel both ways about that.
I would have thought so. I mean, especially if it's an adult, you know, that's going out there, that's heavier than these kids.
Yeah.
You would assume that they would have left some indentions as well. Now, this says here that a police dog handler located the set of footprints.
DT, look right here. I already hit like, so I was watching.
Do you know if that's true? Like, how did they come across the footprints, in your opinion?
I actually heard the footprints were actually found in the middle of the night, and they actually had an untrained bloodhound up in that area. I'm not sure if that's what they're referring to by police dog handler or not, because there were so many dogs out there.
Yeah, I can imagine. And so when is the first?
But they did tell me they exhausted that whole area. They sent so many searchers in. They sent the dogs in. They exhausted that area for multiple days.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people might say, oh, well, you know, this is going to your uncle's house. Maybe you planted it. I find it weird. I don't understand why somebody would plant evidence that's leading to the direction of it.
I've never actually seen the actual location of the footprint in real life.
Yeah.
So, and I told investigators this, and I've never seen the actual blanket hanging in the tree. I've never seen that.
Gotcha.
So
when is the next day comes, searchers are out there. How long are searchers in the area searching for Jack and Lily?
For the first initial search, I think it was like 6 or 7 days. I'd have to look at all the actual how many days they were here for, but it was 6 or 7 for the first initial search, and then they came back the next weekend and they did that search as well. And that doesn't include when the dive teams came in. I talked with those guys after they were done finishing Lansdowne Lake and some of the ponds and the streams, and they assured me that there was no evidence that the kids were near any water.
Interesting. And
okay, so if you guys took notice there, he just said that whole answer where we saw before, where during an answer he might have licked his lips and took like a big gulp quite a few times, right? At the same time, I think when somebody does like the side tongue, that's usually when our mouths are dry, that we'll do that and we'll lick the side. The tongue that I'm talking about is when he does it in the front, when he's like, and like almost like a roll of the tongue type thing. And again, I think that that's due to stress. Do I know what that stress is coming from? I think we all, assumed earlier, and I would assume, because I also feel this way, that he could be nervous when he talks to DT, because I have to be honest with you, I haven't seen him, and I said this earlier, I haven't seen him this nervous in any of the other interviews that I've watched. Does he roll his tongue and do that stuff? Absolutely. But Not nearly as much. I need to go back because I think the other interview that DT does with him, I think I had it on like this one, but I wasn't watching. And I need to go back and watch because I think that there's just as much being said via his nonverbal that there is with his verbal. And I also think if you just got here, I also said, I think he finds it hard to gauge DT. So DT's got his glasses on. He remains calm. He talks very calm and mellow and inviting. So I don't think that DM is getting the same. Like if you talk to me, I'm like, what? Like, well, and I have like inflection. I'm like, wait, what's happening? I'm all dramatic, right? So I obviously wouldn't be the best one probably to do this interview. I'm good at breaking it down after the fact, but maybe during the interview, I might be too expressive. I don't know. I wonder how he would react to that, to be honest with you. But I think that part of his anxiety, or the part, not his anxiety, because I don't know that he feels anxiety, but part of his uncomfortableness here with the questioning, I think has to actually do with DT. Go look at the other interviews. I don't think he does this as much. And again, I'm going to go back and look a little bit better because I wonder how many of them I also listened to and didn't watch. But I'm going to go back with that in mind because I don't think I've ever seen it this much as in this interview. And that would just tell me that he is feeling very anxious about, or anxious. I don't know, again, that he's feeling anxiety. He's uncomfortable. That's the word I'm looking for. He's uncomfortable with the questioning. Look at his face even here. It's almost like he's like, really?
Your property. I know it was recently searched with the cadaver dogs.
Yep.
How many times has it been searched by the search team and the dogs, whether it was the first time they were out there or second, third? How many times?
The amount of times the property was searched was, I can't even put a number on it, Daniel, because it was constantly new people coming in and walking through the property. Like,
okay, so does search mean people walking through the property or the dogs? I think he does a lot of word gymnastics.
For the whole time, there was just new people coming in. I mean, there's the amount of ribbons I see around, it's in the thousands in Lansdowne.
Gotcha. And so they're coming in, they're searching the property.
Look, he feels he feels good. I think he feels like he got away with that question. I do. I don't know what you guys think, but I feel like he feels he got away with that question. So the question started, was how often has it been searched? And I feel like, and this is what I think I'm concerned about with the whole polygraph and stuff like that, is that he was able, even if he didn't do it verbally, that he was able to do these linguistic gymnastics in his own head to where he believes what he's saying, or he's saying it in a way that he's being so literal that it's true. So for example, I'm making this up just to give an example. So let's say, I could actually use something totally different so that nobody gets confused. But let's say I was like, I think they took the bus to school today at, outside. That would be, I don't know how I'm trying to say this. I don't want to say it wrong. Let's say I then said, okay, who took the bus? And I was like, there's a lot of people on the bus because all the kids are coming on the bus and there's all the people in the neighborhood and da-da-da. The question was, who got on the bus out front? And I now turned it into something different. So technically, was I lying? No, there was a bunch of people, if that is my story, right? And if that's what happened. And at the same time, if I'm the other person, I'm like, well, are they telling the truth? Because they answered that correctly. But what did they answer correctly? So I think that's what I was trying to say before about polygraphs when I was on before, is that I would just worry, not that the polygraph people aren't good at their job, because I think they're great at their job. And I think they're detecting the truth in what they're doing. I wonder if he's able to do linguistic gymnastics in a way that allows him to answer questions that are literally true, therefore passing a polygraph.
Long before you're brought into a police station?
I was brought in, I don't remember what day I was brought in because all the days mashed together, but I was brought in by two investigators that were originally on the case.
Okay.
And I haven't seen those guys in a while now. We'll say that.
Yeah.
But those two original guys took me in, and we went into the Stellarton detachment, which is in Pictou County, not the major crimes headquarters that's in Bible Hill.
Mhm.
But I sat in the room with them, and they bought me some food and some coffee, which we know why that was for, right? Collect DNA.
Yeah.
And
Good question.
they never had to ask me for any of that. I was willing to give them everything.
Right.
But yeah, we ran over the timeline the 2 days prior, and I drew them a map of everywhere I went during the search, and also we just talked about everything that led up to where I was that day, sitting down talking to them.
And this after that, you and Malaya were no longer in communication?
Yeah, this was after that. Yeah.
Okay. And so, did you drive in there on your own? Did they pick you up?
No, they actually drove. Whenever they needed me, they actually came and got me.
Gotcha.
Because they wanted to know for 100% that I was coming or not, or so they always came and got me. Like I was with them every day for the first, quite a few days. Like I seen them every day. That wasn't my first interrogation though. I wasn't sitting in the Stellarton dispatch or Stellarton department. That was my very first actual audio recording with them. Was the second day of the search before Malaya left. I actually sat in with
That was the first time he touched his tongue or put his tongue out since I purposely was waiting till I saw it to stop this. And that was a pretty long time. So I will admit he does do it. And I don't know if this is a baseline for him. I will have to go look at other interviews because I don't know that I'll be able to get it from this interview. Because in my opinion, I think he might already feel intimidated. So I do want to look at other videos to see if that is his baseline. So let's give him the baseline and say that that's his baseline. Let's say he does it at the end of each thought, like in that pause. So let's say that one's normal. There's still so many times in this interview where he does it, and so many times in the interview where he does not. And in those times, if it was just that, I'd be like, okay, but it's not. His entire demeanor changes. If you just go back and look at some of the clips, like if somebody goes back later and looks at these clips in our analysis here, you'll see that during the times that he doesn't do it, he's a lot more expressive. I actually believe that he believes, I think he really thinks that him and the cops were shooting the shit and they were, and I don't know, could they have been? Absolutely. But just as likely, they could have been chumming up to him so that he would think that they're buddies and talk. So you could look at a lot of these things either way, which is why I think so many of us are confused. Because again, on one hand, it's this thing, and then on the other hand, it's something totally different. And it's like, which one is it? And I think what we're going to find is that each issue that we talk about is going to be different. And how does this all tie back to the kids? That's one of the things I want to make sure that we keep in sight tonight, right? Are these kids? Because one of the things that I don't see in these interviews is his focus on talking about the kids. If you guys take notice, and again, this is just my opinion and based off of my own research, it's my opinion that this is for him, right? So, right, Daniel, how many times did he say right to you? And again, that would be normal every now and then, but it happens a lot where it'll be like, right. And it's like, you want somebody to say yeah, I follow you. So just take notice of that stuff.
Major crimes officers, and we recorded everything that I did and everything I knew so far up there. I mean, up until they were talking to me. And so we actually, during the interrogation at the Stellarton Dispatch, we actually went over a lot of the stuff we already did, just so they could cross-reference, right?
And how long were you out there for at the dispatch?
Okay, so if you guys notice that entire time, if we're going to give him that baseline, and again, when I say we, I mean me, if we're going to give him that baseline where he does the tongue in between each statement, at this point, that one, I think we could believe what he said there until the very end, where he obviously feels uncomfortable and looks away from the camera.
What was that?
Right?
How long did that interview take? Was it
by saying what was that, you guys, just so you know, because I think DT was very clear there. If somebody says something like, wait, what? Or what's that? And you think that they heard you, it could also be, and just like he's taking a sip of a soda, that he needs an extra second to think this one through. And again, this is just my opinion and all alleged.
A couple of hours.
The original one sitting in the major crimes van with them, that was about 45 minutes to an hour. And then, but the actual interrogation, if you want to call it, at the Stokes and Dispatch, that one was almost 4 hours.
Jeez, that's extensive. And so you walk in there, they're asking you.
So he got nervous at DT's reaction right there, but then when he realized that it was cool, he's like, okay. And you can like physically, I feel like you could see in this guy what he's feeling. And again, this is just a legend, in my opinion.
4 hours. Did they ever get accusatory?
No, not at all. I was completely cooperative with them.
I believe that.
And I said, like, yeah, we're going to come and get your phone in a few days. Do you want to sign a waiver? And I said, no, I don't even need to sign a waiver. And I threw him my phone. So,
so when did they pick up your phone? Was it that day?
No, it wasn't that day. It was actually a few days after.
Okay.
Wow.
And how long did they have your phone for?
They had my phone for about a week. And they actually gave me a loaner phone to use while they had my phone. And then they brought my phone back and they realized my little SIM card holder wasn't inside the phone. So they said, oh, I guess we're going to have to go back and get that from the tech guys. So I used the phone for an extra few days while they retrieved my little SIM card holder.
Interesting. And
wait, what? What the hell was that? So he gives his phone, but there's no SIM card holder? Does that mean there's no SIM card? Is that what he's trying to say? You guys, he just felt, oh my God, you guys, if you guys again go back and look at this later, he just goes like for a while where there are pauses and there's no discomfort in between. Look, he doesn't look discomforted here either. And then there was clear times though that you did see it. Wow. So he didn't give his phone then, right? If he gave his phone and there's no SIM card, then they only got on the phone what he gave them. So they gave him his phone back and he got to use it for a couple more days. And then they were able to retrieve it again. So what could have happened in those few days that he got his phone back? And it almost looks like he's happy that he did. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I take that last part back. I don't know that he's happy that he did. But I'm just saying, I didn't realize that until just now.
I don't know if that was all planned or not, Daniel.
Wait, what?
Well, I'm sure they were listening to the things you were saying on that phone they let you borrow.
Wait, what?
Yeah, well, they were free to listen, Daniel. Nothing was going on.
And so you get your phone back. I mean, I'm understanding that they went through your text messages, your bank accounts, your locations. What else were they able to access from your phone?
Oh, they got access to everything, Daniel.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably looked. I mean, they had it for over a week, so they could have just looked through everything.
And did they have any questions referencing what they looked through with the phone after they gave it back?
No, they didn't. I didn't question them on it, and they didn't question me. They said, here's your phone back. Everything's good.
And
do you guys believe that they said that? Oh, here's your phone back. Everything's good. I don't think he even believes that. And again, he's doing the tongue thing like a lot here, and he wasn't a minute ago.
How long was it between the time that they gave you your phone back and the time that you took
the
polygraph test?
I may have taken the polygraph exam when they had my phone.
Oh, okay.
I don't quite remember that. It's hard for me to remember all because usually I'm not pulling up date to date, right? So
with that,
wait, you guys, I'm not pulling up date to date. And look, he feels uncomfortable right there. He just did a hard swallow. But what do you mean? How often does your stepkids go missing that you have to remember if you gave your phone the same day? I don't understand how, I feel like this is like the things that you would remember. If you don't remember that, how do you remember other things so vividly? I don't know.
You said that, hey, I'm willing to take a polygraph test. I'll answer your questions.
He's comfortable with it.
How long from that time that you said, hey, I'll do it? How long was it before you actually sat there in front of the polygraph test?
I'm guessing probably a week, but it felt like longer than that, Daniel. Every day was so long.
I can imagine. Now, kind of transitioning to that polygraph. You go in. Did they give you the questions they were going to ask beforehand?
Yeah, they actually they actually did give us the questions ahead of time. There was actually 5 questions. I don't know why it says in the documents there was 4. There was actually 5 questions they wanted to ask, and then they would throw in questions that they knew that were that you couldn't lie on, right? Like, have you ever lost your temper? Obviously, everybody has lost their temper before, so you can't. And then, but you're going to say that you never lost your temper before, and then they know that's a lie, right?
Yeah.
So they could find your baseline on that. But all my questions
Wait.
centered around the death of the children. Are you in a
Oh, wait a minute, you guys. That just said a lot to me right there. So, wow. So he said, so he's clearly wants to know how they get your baseline. If you listen to the way that he just answered that or made that statement, he said, well, that's how they're going to find your baseline, right, Daniel? So, wow, that says a lot to me. That was a little bit icky to me. I didn't really like that. I feel like that felt, I don't know. And again, this is just in my opinion and based off my research, but I didn't catch that before and I just did now. And I don't know about that.
accessory to killing Lily and Jack? Did you murder Lily and Jack?
Look, he'll say
All the questions were based on that.
Oh, those are 2. What are the other 3?
good question. Good question.
What they did was just reword the questions, differently, right?
Did they ask you, like, do you know where they're at?
No,
Huh. That's
no, they were just all on murder or accessory to murder. Do you know anything on the murders of Lily and Jack? Are you accessory to killing Lily and Jack? Did you murder Lily and Jack? It's just the same questions, but just the orientation of the wording was just changed.
Understood. And
But I didn't want questions like that. I said, let's do another polygraph, and that's of all the questions on disappearance. And I want everybody else polygraphed the exact same way.
Oh my gosh, you guys, is it me or is he referencing something? He keeps looking over in the same spot. Could you say that he's like referencing in his brain, like thinking? Absolutely. But he keeps looking over at the same thing right next to the camera. And I think I'm picking up on this because just getting my doctorate degree, I've had to give so many presentations in front of the camera. And I would always have, like, there's no way I'm doing a presentation without my stand right next to me, like making sure that I hit my bullet points. And that's how I graduated with almost a perfect, I think I got a 3.95. That was close enough. It wasn't a 4.0, so I can't brag that way, but I was close. And the one thing that I didn't get the 4.0 was in statistics. And now I teach statistics. So it's like I wound up not punishing myself, but getting so into it that I was like, wait, what did I get wrong? And I really don't think I deserved an A- on that, but that's a different story. Let's get back to this.
so you suspect that they didn't ask
He didn't.
Lily about the disappearance aspect? Just
No, they wanted to rule out death as quick as possible. So, because that would narrow everything down. Because if they knew that the children were deceased, that would completely narrow it down. They wouldn't have to ask them this on the disappearance.
So you
What?
take the polygraph test. Is there any
Wait, what? That makes no sense. Oh, wait, hold on. I'll have to see some. But yeah, I don't know about that.
questioning after the
Sorry, I just
polygraph?
got sidetracked.
No, I actually did 3 polygraphs back to back. It took a total of 3 hours. I was there for
Oh, really? 3
Yeah.
And it was the same questions over
the
and over
same
again?
questions over and over and over. And then they
And
showed me a piece of paper at the end, and it said, like, it showed you like all the stuff on the polygraph, and I passed.
That's crazy.
And then after that, I was taken into a separate room, and where I sat with major crimes officers, and we just talked.
And that conversation, what was the basis of it?
Oh, the conversation after the polygraph,
Yeah.
just chatting with a couple of major crimes officers.
Wasn't about the case in specific.
No, it wasn't about the case at all.
All right. And so, you know, the polygraph test is over. You walk out.
I didn't really like that.
You know, how is
I feel like he's
communication
like
with law enforcement
pumping his
after that?
chest like that made him feel big.
It definitely improved, but they weren't really hard on me at all, even from the start, because I was so cooperative. You know what I mean? There was a lot of inside jokes, and it was a different experience than I think most people would think of.
Yeah.
They were
And,
actually, pretty lenient with me, like, driving fast in the car on the highway. and them guys throwing jokes out and everything like that. It was a different experience.
Good deal. And
Wait, see, now that's where I would have had to stop it and been like, wait, you guys were throwing jokes out while you were trying to find, not that you shouldn't have did. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying psychologically, my thought process would have been, what do you mean? I mean, I guess, you know what I mean? Like, I can't expect every investigator to always be, you know, I mean, I guess they have to make jokes at times too, but the way he just said that was if like, no, we were just talking like boys. It was a totally different experience. That's what he just said. They were his words. I don't know that I love that.
but like as far as the amount of communication, did they, after you took the polygraph test, did they continue to talk to you the same amount, or did that?
Yeah, they continued to talk to me the same amount until about, I would say, maybe 2 months in. It was after that CBC interview.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It kind of like tapered off after that. And then in the last month and a half, maybe last month, the officers have only or investigators have only came to me 2 times, once for the human remains dogs and once to get all Lily and Jack's belongings for Malaya.
Yeah, that's kind of indicative of somebody who, you know, if they suspected you, they want to talk to you as much as they possibly can.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They want you to talk as much as you can.
but you have to remember, after my visits with Meadow, I would always stop in at Major Crimes. I mean, I walk into the front desk of the department. I said, Daniel, you can go meet him around back. Go to the back door where Major Crimes headquarters is.
Yeah.
So
how are things with Meadow? How are your visitations going?
My visits with Meadow are going pretty good. There's not really much I can say other than that with all the court stuff. I mean, I don't have another court hearing for almost like 3 months, I think. So.
And have you spoken with Malaya since any of this has happened?
Yes, I did. I did one time.
How did that go?
Actually, there was twice. First time, when she was on the run with Meadow, fled to the reserve when she wasn't being supervised. Darren called me and said Malaya's unsupervised. So then I called Malaya's phone from my aunt's phone, because I was at my uncle's at the time. Used my aunt's phone. I called Malaya's phone. Malaya picked up, and I could tell from the background that she was in a moving vehicle. So Darren was correct on that. And so then I called Major Crimes investigators, and I said, you know, Malaya's on the run with Meadow. And they said, there's nothing we can do, Daniel. You got to call CPS for that. Called CPS, but they were already closed. And it was actually Cindy, her own mother, which called CPS on Malaya, which had Meadow removed.
Oh, wow. I didn't
Wait,
know that.
what?
Yeah.
And so,
that's
did I hear that right? Did he say that it was her mom that called on her that got the kid removed? And is that true? I thought that they removed the kid because of the situation. And I'm not being like snarky. I'm being dead serious. What's the deal there?
Something new that the public probably doesn't know.
And what ended up resulting? What happened? Did CPS find her, pick her up?
CPS went to her father's house along with RCMP, I do believe, and they actually took Meadow out of her care while she was at Henry's.
Gotcha. And Meadow's been in CPS since?
She's in foster care.
Gotcha. And are there any like is there an end result in that? Do you guys think that she'll be in foster care for much longer?
Not sure at the moment. I mean, there's so many moving parts in this, Daniel. I'm not sure, especially with Jack and Lily being missing in that case, because they're Malaya's children. CPS it has them included into the court case. Like,
wait, what?
Like they have them included in the court cases because it's involuntary, right? Because she's the mother of them. She's connected to Meadow, so they're automatically seen in the court case.
So wait, how could both things be true then? Did her mom call, or were they seen in the court case because they're the sibling? She's a sibling of. That was confusing. No. Did anybody else notice that every other interview he's in, and I think he looked really uncomfortable right here. I actually stopped it as he's licking his lips. But did anyone else notice that he just, on more than one occasion, and I'm sure he meant it in the court, realm too, but he just said that they're her kids more than once, and this is the only time. And he's done a whole lot of talking that I've ever heard him say that. I think one other time he does say it in another interview, and the interview was recent, where he said something like, oh, I know what he says. He says, and I haven't even seen my own children yet. And I was like, wait, what did he just say? Because his big thing, right, is that he is their dad and that he's looking and he's heartbroken and all this stuff. So how could both things be true here? I mean, maybe they can, but I feel like it's either one thing or the other. They're either your children, right, or they're not. And I get that they're not biologically his, but you guys know what I mean. There are plenty of you right now that aren't the biological parent of the children that you lived with or raised or whatever the case may be. And for most of you, you probably did love them as if they were your own, which is very commendable. And I respect that highly.
Are there any stipulations that you have? Like, are you forced to take any drug tests or anything like that?
Drug tests, and I have to do therapy, psychological exam. What else do we have? There's so many things. I mean, I have meetings with my lawyer, that takes time too for that case.
And I'm assuming since you're
lots.
still meeting with her that you're passing all these things, drug test, everything's passing.
Good question.
Yeah.
Good deal.
I do all that. I tried to do as much as I can. I even asked them the other day. We had a private conference with the lawyers, and there was a lawyer from the ministry for foster care and my caseworkers. And I asked them if there's anything extra they can do. They said, no, not right now. It's just like you already have like enough on your plate right now. Just keep up doing that stuff, because like most days, Daniel, I'm pretty busy.
Yeah. What are you doing? I thought I just watched an interview, and again, I don't remember this part either. I don't know if I just missed it or something, but I thought he said in the other interview that he uses every day. He says in the interview, I apologize. He says, I don't have much to do. I'm not really doing much. They were literally his exact words, I think. So I'm going to have to go back and look, but I think that was a quote, if I just remembered it correctly. The other thing I will say is that I did notice that someone said, yes, I do know that he meant that was his kids, that he didn't see his own kids yet, his biological kids. What I'm saying is, other than this one time and the one other interview, which is the same interview that I'm also referencing the other comment with, other than that, which was recently, I've never heard him speak like that prior, which was just like, wait, what? So when I heard it on the other interview, I was like, oh, maybe it's like a fluke. I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, you guys. When you guys get to know me, you're going to find that my best and worst quality is that I play devil's advocate. So it's my best quality, and that you never have to worry. If you're not here, I probably will not let anybody talk about you. Even if I don't know you like that, I am not that person. So I will play devil's advocate, and I'll be like, well, maybe they meant da-da-da. So that could be a good thing, right? For one person, but for another person, it could be a bad thing. Like sometimes my husband wants me to be like, yeah, F you to the person in the car and like go nuts with them. And instead, I'm usually like, right. I don't think that person woke up today and was like, how can I piss Bryan Vona off? And then he'll look at me like, huh? And I'm like, no, you're right. So the last time I called his bluff, and I was like, F you, Dad. And I was like, get out. And my husband literally looked at me and was like, that was weird. And I was like, I'm damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So there goes that. Daniel says he turned his phone over when they gave it back. They gave it without the SIM card. Gotcha. Okay, I stand corrected. I didn't. This is why I'm saying, you guys, please tell me. And although I can't keep up with every single comment while it's live because they go really fast, what I will promise to do is afterwards, if anybody has a comment or a question or something, I don't know if you guys know this, but if you ever wrote me a comment, I definitely wrote you back.
And so, speaking of CPS, there's been a lot of speculation about the kids having been visited by CPS and things of that nature. Can you clear that up? Like,
I will actually clear that up. I cleared it up many times online, but there's still people that seem to have misconceptions on that.
Well, that made him mad.
So CPS actually did come to the house, and that was about Jack and Lily's behavior, especially at school.
Wait, is he trying to say right now that Child Protective Services came out because their behavior at school? What? I mean, how about this? For those of you that live in Canada, is that normal? Is it just that in the United States we have like so many things happening that we can't? Because trust me when I tell you, if they went to everybody's school for bad behavior, we would need a lot more, like we would be well understaffed. So I don't know anywhere around here in Pennsylvania that does that. But if they do that in Canada, please let me know, because that would be interesting, right?
And then they were about to be diagnosed with, or be sent for the diagnosis of autism. The school wanted that, and me and Malaya wanted that as well. The main reason why CPS came out is to, give us phone numbers and give us some instruction and who could we go to learn more about dealing with their behaviors.
So it had nothing to do with a black eye?
Good
No,
question.
no.
What's the story behind the black eyes? Because I think it's
Oh, good question.
been something a lot of people have been asking about, that there's a multiple black eyes. What would you want to clear up about that?
I mean, the black eyes, it definitely was not from me. Daniel would come out and say that first. Come out, because I know the world thinks that.
Wait, Daniel didn't ask that, did he? I didn't hear Daniel say, did you give them a black eye? Did anybody else hear that? I think he loves to control the situation, you guys.
And that's absolutely heartbreaking for me to be accused of that stuff. Because as you can see, and even in the court documents, Malaya refers to as Daniel was an involved parent, and he didn't even physically discipline the kids. If I'm not going to physically discipline them, why would I ever abuse them? That's the first thing. But
wow, you guys, he just did that whole thing without doing the tongue thing lunch, which says two things to me. One, I am the type of person where if I then don't see something or whatever, I will say that too. And I will tell you here, I actually believe him here. He didn't do anything that I felt was, I mean, I don't know if I missed something, but as far as I saw, there was no tongue rope. There was no stress or word gymnastics. What did I call it? Linguistic gymnastics. That'll be like the name of the next slide, you guys.
The most of the black eyes were probably from Lily.
Did he just say black eyes? Plural? And did he just say they were from Lily? Did he just say that? What the actual what? Did he just blame the kid?
Because, and I don't want to say 100%, because Jack was really clumsy too. Like when we used to take him to the woods, he would fall a lot. I remember one time too, Jack ran right into the doorknob on the door. They would throw stuff at each other. They were quite aggressive toward each other. Then most times,
not one tongue thing at all.
When they became aggressive, Malaya couldn't handle them. I had to come home from work 4 or 5 times just due to the fact Malaya couldn't handle the kids. And that's why you can refer to the documents again. Malaya said that Daniel had a voice that the kids listened to.
I believe everything he just said. I believe everything he just said. And I think the reason we saw the tongue at the very end was because when he says the words out loud, that he has a voice that the kids will listen to, I think he realizes how that might sound. He is so hyper focused, you guys, in my opinion, on how we feel about him, that's definitely, like, you can definitely see that in the interview, right? Right? There you go, right? I feel like it's that noticeable that I just said right. But see, I can catch myself too.
Behavior of them physical, is that why CPS was called? I mean, you mentioned there was behavior. Were they?
Yeah, it was behavior at school, because Jack would refuse to do things, or some days he would do it easily. Other days he would completely refuse. They became aggressive. I remember Lily would try to pull her hair out sometimes when she would get frustrated. So, all
right, we did talk about this the other night on the DT show about hair pulling disorder, and you could tell like this is starting to make him nervous, I think, here too. That's called trichotillomania, and we see this mostly in children. Again, it's trichotillomania. We see this mostly in children, so this isn't something that, I mean, we could still see. So in adulthood, are there people that, like, you know, my best friend does this. She like goes like this with her hair and stuff when she gets nervous. Yes, that happens. This is different in that it's not just your hair that you pull out. So it starts there often because that's usually the hair that we have the most access to or the most control over by like pulling it. We usually have something longer as opposed to like the hair on your arm or but eventually they'll start pulling out eyelashes and stuff like that, and even their eyebrows. So any hair. And if you guys could just think about it, right? If you just pull one of your hairs out right now, if everybody just pull the hair out as we speak, if you can. I don't know how much hair some of the men here have, or even some of the women here have. So if you don't have hair, try to pull it on your arm or something, or your leg, and take notice of the pinch, right? So when you're a kid and you're trying to hurt yourself, and we see this in often in teenagers, is cutting. Cutting does not mean somebody wants to take themselves out. That's not what that means. It's the same type of stress response as we see with trichotillomania, where the person is stressed and they're going through so much mental anguish that the physical pain takes them away from thinking about that, even if just for a couple seconds. So even if it's just which is why we often then will see patches, right? Because they'll do it again and again and again to get that relief. So when I see cutting or skin picking disorders or hair pulling disorders, there's a few of them. Even night terrors or night walking even more so than night terrors. And again, when I say that a kid's stressed, I'm not saying that they're being beat at home. Like, that's not what I'm getting at. What I'm saying is that they're stressing their life. So that could be at school, it could be at home, it could be at school and at home. It could be because, you know, the person can't communicate the way that they want. It could be, so there's many reasons that can be behind that. But it definitely, in my opinion, is indicative of someone who's going through something mentally, and they're now trying to control that pain in their arm. One, they can control it. And two, it takes their thoughts away, even if just for a minute, which is really sad if you think about
it. There was just, and I'm not going to point fingers at Malaya saying that she couldn't handle the kids like 100%. But it was a struggle for her, man. It really was.
Yeah. And
I don't blame her because, you know, being a stay-at-home mom isn't easy, right?
Right. No, it's not. Being a parent in general is not easy. And
of course, it's one of the most difficult jobs you'll ever do.
Yeah, and if they did have autism and they had some behavioral issues, that can only add to it as well. And so none of the reasoning. Well, let me rephrase this. So CPS doesn't have anything open when it comes to Jack and Lily currently. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That's good to know. There's not an open investigation. There's nothing there.
No.
That doesn't seem very
And
oh my gosh, you guys, I feel like that made him so uncomfortable. He does the tongue thing a bunch of times, and he even moves the camera, and he does the face thing and the shirt thing and the face thing.
Never Dogs come out here recently. Now, a lot of people have been speculating.
Look, this makes him uncomfortable.
You had a vehicle traffic incident that occurred.
Yeah.
And I guess the timing behind that's a lot of people are kind of trying to point to, connect some dots. What happened with the traffic accident?
Okay, we got pulled over.
Not accident, incident. I've said accident.
Yeah, incident. That's right. Yeah, I only got into one accident ever. We don't want to talk about that. But
no time.
Yeah, the incident is I got pulled over, and the vehicle wasn't the registration wasn't in my name, but now it is. The vehicle sitting in the driveway and everything like that. I didn't receive any fines, and the car just got impounded. Went down, got it towed out of the impound, and it's all good.
And so
why does he tell on himself? I don't get that. He's like, I didn't get any fines. What do you guys think? Again, I'm only like a few days into this. Is this him making sure that nobody else is going to be like, oh, I bet you got fines? Or like, I don't know, like, why he feels the need to make sure, because he does that with a lot of things where he wants to make sure that we know that, like, but I didn't get fines, or they don't think that I did anything.
The vehicle was there. Now I'm curious. Did you see anything out of place? Any of the body panels inside out of place? Did it appear?
No,
it
went straight to the tow yard. Nothing was different on it. Nothing was moved. It was just
no tongue.
Nothing was touched in it.
If investigators wanted to go through it, would you have?
Investigators knew about my vehicle being impounded. I even said to the investigators, like, you should seize that as evidence and then give it back to me so I don't have to pay the impound fees.
No tongue.
Like that's how much I joke with investigators, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, you guys, I have to stop it right here. You guys, there's no tongue. Did anybody just see that whole time? Not one time. So I think that like is validating in the sense that I don't think I'm just seeing things here. I don't. And again, what does this mean? I don't know yet. I'm only a few days into it, but it's for sure red flags for me.
And so, so you got your vehicle back.
Even if it's that we find out that it's neglect, which I'm sure all of you know. I teach college and university, and one of the classes I teach is family violence. And in that class, we just did a whole chapter on neglect being considered abuse, at least here in the United States. So even if that's what I'm picking up on, I'm picking up on something.
The property with the cadaver dogs. Now, you know, they show up. How much advance notice did you have that they were going to be at your property?
I didn't have any notice. I didn't know what day they were coming, what hour they were coming. It was on Monday. I literally got home at 1 o'clock. My visit was over at 12 o'clock with Meadow. So I got home around 1 o'clock because it's an hour drive. And I pulled into the yard and the SUVs were there. The picture or video I sent you, that was at the blanket site. That's when I knew the dogs were in Lansdowne.
Gotcha. And so so I know that there was news out there, you know, that the RCMP reported it to the news. So if they didn't report it, you wouldn't have had any knowledge?
No, I didn't know what day they were coming. I didn't know what time they were getting, you know, from the airport or wherever, how they were shipped, the dogs. So.
And so from the time that they did notify you, I'm assuming that they did, or did they just knock on your door and say, hey, we're here?
No, I wasn't even home at the time. They must have just came right into the yard and Mom was there but they were searching for only about an hour before I arrived on scene, like before I arrived home.
And when you arrived, they were still there searching?
Yeah, they didn't hardly make it anywhere. They must have been talking to Mom for the first little while because literally they were right outside the end of the house, like by the bedroom. They were just walking around, you know. So, and then I walked up to them. I said, hey, you know, can I walk up to you and the dog? Right? Yeah. Being respectful, obviously.
Yeah. And did they allow you to walk with them throughout the search?
Yeah, I did walk with them for, you know, some of it. But then, you know, it's like, I don't know.
Okay, so you guys, real quick, I believe all of this. So we're going like a few minutes here where I see nothing concerning here, which makes me feel even more like the parts that we do say it are concerning, in my opinion. So Drippy said, I can't remember their exact words, but even police have said that the public have reasons to be concerned. The public are concerned something criminal happened. And then I saw someone else said, where did we get that from? Because I guess people want to reference it. So, oh yeah, where did you see that at? Perfect question. That way, in case anybody has a question about it, they could go look it up. Wow. You don't feel it, YouTube? Bad actors? Really? Okay, so this is the thing again. So what do you feel about this though? Okay. I don't know that I think he like killed the kids or anything, but do you at least agree that you're like getting neglect or something? Like I feel, are you getting that suspicious part of it? Like I feel, I don't know if even if that's what I'm getting, then I'm feeling something. I don't know what it is yet. I literally just came in on this case.
I don't want to get in the way. They were asking me where they should search and stuff like that. So, you know, I just told them, you know, do whatever you need to do. There's the beaver pond out back. There's the marsh right beside the house. Like these are wetland areas. So the ground's much softer, right?
Yeah.
So I figured, you know what I mean? Those might be good places to start for them.
Yeah. And so they're searching out there. How long was the dogs while you were there? Obviously they were there for a little bit before you got there, but how long were they there on your property while you were there?
3 hours maybe. That was only one dog.
Yes, I remember on DT show he showed us a video. It was like a new video, and they do say that where they're they say like the opposite of where they kind of make it look like, well, this is what they say. they say that he feels bad for the family. And where me and Daniel were a little like, I don't know, like where we didn't know, like I think Daniel assumes that means him and her and, the family, where I'm like, they say family, but could that mean like, I mean, he's making a differentiation between them being her kids. So how far off could it be that there could be a differentiation there, that it's her family? And again, do I know either way? Absolutely not. But why is this important? All of these things. Somebody might be like, okay, well, why are these things important? I think they're important because I think this guy is so convincing to the general, like to a lot, not everybody. There's a lot of people that he's not convincing to. To a lot of people, I could see, you guys, look how many girlfriends he's had. Like, come on, how many of you out there? Can you guys put a 1 in chat if you would date him, and a 2 if you would absolutely run? So a 1 if you date him, 2 if you run. And if you're, if you're not into males or whatever, put if you were, or your sister or brother or whoever, 1 for yes, 2 for no. But, in order to have that many, like he goes through, like not goes through, I don't mean it like that. I mean, as far as he literally goes from one girlfriend to another girlfriend to another girlfriend to, so it's like, do you guys know what I'm saying? I don't know, you guys.
The very first day, there was only 1 dog.
And did
on the property, it was a black shepherd.
And did the handler have him on a leash, or did you let him free roam?
They free roamed while they were in the yard, but when they took them onto the paved road, they had them on leashes. The leashes were like just rope that was like 20 feet long or something like that.
Good deal. And so the first day comes, they search, and it was just 1 dog. They leave. Second day comes in. Is it a different dog? Is it the same dog? Or
they brought in, I believe on the second day, they brought in both dogs.
Okay. And they searched it at the same time, or was it one after another?
They had them. They were both. Well, I kind of want to say both together, but like they weren't walking right over each other's footprints, right?
Gotcha.
So.
And so they search out there. How long were they there on the second day?
I meant this one.
On the second day, they did 3 or 4 hours too, but they left a little bit earlier because they wanted to go back and do the pipeline and stuff too, right?
Gotcha.
So.
And free roam again off the leash and the property.
Yep. Whenever they were on the property, they were always free roam.
And
they had fun chasing the cat around. Smelling the chickens. They went inside the chicken coop. The dogs actually did not go underneath the house. We lifted up, the door on the side of the skirting, and I was the one who crawled under there. I think I told you that in a message.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
they were pointing to you to go to certain places and uncover things and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't. I felt bad for them. I didn't want to get their pretty uniforms dirty.
Nothing.
There you go.
Nothing.
And so they're out there,
no tongue.
And they leave that area. They go out.
Do you guys see that? There's no tongue. There's no nervousness here, in my opinion. From that one point on, really the biggest things here for me are the blanket, his talk about the bruises, the whole thing, him turning the light on. Oh, I guess there's a lot. So maybe I shouldn't recap all of it because we might be here for a minute.
To where the boot print was. Is that the last time they searched your house, or was there a third one?
I'm not sure if they came back or not, because on Wednesday, right? It was Monday when they first landed, and then on Wednesday I had to go back and I had a visit with Meadow, so I was gone for majority of the morning until 1 o'clock again.
And did they tell you if they found absolutely anything out there?
I was not notified of anything.
Then did they tell you they didn't find nothing, or did they just not mention anything? Could they
didn't mention anything to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so,
all right. So you guys, that's a differentiation real quick, right? And I'm glad that DT brought that out. Did they say that? Like, so in other words, he said they didn't say that to me, but they didn't necessarily tell him otherwise.
But I think, but when I went by on my Friday's meeting with after my visit with Meadow, I didn't see any of the vehicles at Northeast Major Crimes where I've seen them. I've seen one on Wednesday, right? The K9 unit handlers, SUV. So I figured what they're doing, they still have the cadaver dogs out, but they're searching different locations now.
Understood. You know, a lot of people were talking about, you know, your uncle's property, and that maybe even, I think Janie has mentioned that she has a 7-acre property out there as well. Do you know if the cadaver dogs and or the search dogs have searched that property?
I'm not sure if they did or not, but the properties are really close to the pipeline. So I imagine they would have walked up and down the sides of the road. So
yeah,
they might have done them. I have no confirmation on that though, Daniel.
Understood. So you don't know?
No.
And would there be any issue if they showed up and said, "Can we search this property?" You think? I'm sure.
Oh no, there would have been no issues. Like my family's 100% cooperative. They would never say no to anything from law enforcement.
Has there been anybody, not necessarily inside your family, but anybody in the neighborhood who hasn't been cooperative?
I know what you're getting at, Daniel. I know what you're getting at. And I'm gonna say,
look,
I don't know if they were not cooperative, but they weren't happy to be cooperative.
And so, I know.
What does that mean? They weren't not cooperative, but they weren't happy. I mean, I know what that means, but that was word gymnastics.
I know that there was a person who wasn't too fond of the command center being close to their property.
That's right.
Do you know if they denied anybody entering their property?
I am not 100% sure on that, but it would have been stupid not to let law enforcement on your property. I mean, they're already knocking on the door, and I mean, just by sitting in front of your house, I mean,
oh my God, do you guys see that light?
Not a wise thing not to let them in.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Oh my gosh,
now, I believe this person, and I don't know if it's the same person.
Wow.
But I believe this person has mentioned a couple of things. One of the things mentions is that he heard a vehicle driving around at 5 a.m. Or at some point, a 5-speed vehicle.
Well, I wonder what he's doing.
Is there a vehicle that has visited you?
He just smoked.
Night, but in other nights, maybe they're confused.
He definitely just coughed, you guys. So, okay. So this is my thing, right? So now I just went on record a little while ago and said I don't think that he's using any rugs or anything. But when do you take a drag of a cigarette like that, hold it, blow it out, and then cough? Just saying. Not that I know the recipe and stuff. I'm just saying.
The night that they heard this, have you ever had a late night visitor with a loud vehicle?
No, I don't know anybody with the 5-speed other than my brother. And my brother has a wife and a family, so he's not driving out there in the middle of the night.
And is it like a vehicle that's loud?
No, it's a brand new Subaru.
What about a 4-wheeler?
And so,
and it's not customized or anything either. So there's no loud exhaust or anything like that.
Just like a normal vehicle. And
wow.
Look,
he's vaping.
The area. If somebody were to come to your house, would they have cell service in your home? If you had a friend over?
What's that? Would they have service?
Yeah. If you invited me over to your home and I went over, would I have cell service at your house?
No. If you put your phone in the window, you might have one bar.
Do people what do you use so that people do have service?
Wi-Fi. We have Starlink.
And when people come to your house, do you share that information so that they can have service, or is that something that's private?
The Wi-Fi is left completely open. I don't know if I want to say that on the internet, but it's left completely wide open.
Right, well, you just did.
You may want to close it.
Yeah, after this, I am going to close it, I think.
Yeah, you might want to, because people might pull up close to you and try to log in. But yeah, all right. Now, the reason I ask is because if somebody's visiting you, they most likely would connect to the Wi-Fi so they can have service, correct?
Yeah, we left it wide open before people that are stranded on the side of the roads or law enforcement when they were here, so they would have Wi-Fi because
isn't that so
even
nice?
when they were in the house, their radios didn't work.
Gotcha.
That's so nice of you.
Gotcha. And so, have you?
There's a lot of reporters that came down from like Montreal that drove down and stuff like that, and they had satellite phones
because of you.
Oh, okay.
You helped them.
And have you had
Wi-Fi
parties at your house or anything like that?
No, I never had parties. I was raising kids and having a family, Daniel.
Now,
I was raised to have kids and have a family. You guys, come on.
Is that so?
I'm like a nerd. And I was like me. I feel like this is nobody says that.
Something that you've ever had a problem with?
I've used drugs before in the past. I'm not ashamed to say that. I'll be the first person to say that.
And when did it stop?
5 seconds ago when I just
before
took the drag of that vape.
before the disappearance, obviously. I wasn't.
Wait, Daniel, I wish you would have been like other than the vape that you just hit twice.
Using drugs during the search or anything like some of Malaya's family claim to say.
Gotcha. And is it so? This is a problem from a while ago, or is this a recent problem that
Am
you
I
had?
crazy?
Well,
or
Daniel
he
was
just
never really a
vaping?
problem. Like I wasn't going into any psychosis or being, crazy in any way.
Okay, you guys, just so you know, active addiction does not mean you go into psychosis. Can somebody go into psychosis because of being on a substance? Absolutely, but that's not really what happens. So I think that that's a disservice for people that have a problem with addiction or that are in recovery. Nobody thinks that you're crazy. I promise you. At least nobody that knows better.
I wasn't doing like breaking enters or
I can't believe he just said that.
doing anything like that to feed an addiction.
Right.
Oh wow.
And so, but when was the last time then that you did use?
Much before the disappearance. I can't put an actual day on it, but it was much before.
Gotcha. And so
I didn't
during
have
that-
any drugs. There was no drugs on the property. There's no meth labs. There's nothing like that. You would have seen me going on handcuffs the very first day if there was drugs, right?
Right.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
When they say that there's no evidence of
You
a
feel
criminal
so
offense, I would assume drugs would be a criminal offense. So,
Yeah, that's correct. And investigators even told me, they said, Daniel, if you had any drugs, we would just take them. But we know there was no drugs on the property, so.
yeah.
And I'm sure that that's what they said to him. I'm sure they said, you know what, we know there was no drugs on the property, but if you had meth, we would have just taken it, which maybe they did say. Let me be honest with you. My best friend was murdered. And one of the first things that the cop said was, if there's any drugs or anything involved, just let us know. Like, we're not here for that. And I think somebody like smoked weed or something at the time. It wasn't anything, big, not that it matters. So I do think my point of that was whether you're smoking weed or taking meth or anything, I'm just saying a substance in general, that wouldn't be abnormal for the police to say we're not worried about the drug because they're more worried about finding these precious children.
And I know that Malaya's family has mentioned that. To your knowledge, Malaya mentioned that to anybody? Or is that just
I think she did. But I mean, the narrative's always been targeted at me, right, though, Daniel?
Gotcha.
And I'll stay in the spotlight as long as it takes, because as long as I'm the target, the individuals or groups or whoever has the kids, they're gonna feel more relaxed, and that gives investigators a chance to strike.
Okay, this is the problem though with his tongue. This is the problem with that statement. He knows, in my opinion, that there's no group or faction or people that have them, right? So my thing is, there's a few things. Even when DT asked him about when was the last time you used, and he legit vaped 2 seconds before that twice, he was able to say with a straight face. I mean, he gave a little bit of that tongue there, but he was able to say with a straight face, no, it was well before we started searching for them, or well before they were missing. So I don't know if he could lie about things right there. I don't know. I'm just saying.
So you believe that the kids are alive?
Yes, 100%. I hope every day.
Look, he shook his head no.
I believe the exact same as RCMP do. They didn't go into the woods.
Oh.
What do you believe happened?
I don't want to go into any theories. I don't want to point any fingers.
But he does.
Because I've done that so many times online. So I'm going to refrain from doing it, Daniel.
Do you think it was an outsider?
No, because on the second day they came out and said this is not an abduction. An abduction means that the individual or parties that took the kids,
there goes Thor again,
wouldn't be known by the kids. That's what an abduction is. So when the RCMP said it wasn't an abduction,
that's not true, you guys, right? Because you could have a parental abduction.
That means,
unless that's true in Canada, I'm not sure.
The person that has the kids is known by them. And because I was with Malaya for 3 years, I think I may know the person that has the kids, right? Because I was involved in the kid's life and I was involved in Malaya's life.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I went to investigators with every single lead I have, and they listen, but I don't know what they're planning or their plan is, right? Because they don't let me in on that stuff, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
Wow.
But they always just tell me don't pursue any leads, don't fly any drones, just don't follow anybody, which I don't. So
That's,
That's good advice. You
Yeah.
don't want to.
all right, that's good advice, but does anybody really say that to you? Don't pretty much go look for the kids is what he's saying, because he's saying don't follow any leads. So I don't know. I don't know about that. It might be true. I don't know.
in a bad position.
yeah. Well, I mean, I have so many people following me and drones and everything else. So
Yeah, no, I've heard.
Oh, did you notice?
I-
That was
I-
projection.
Your guys' life should not be like that.
Yeah.
And so
He loves being in the spotlight, Daniel.
I know you mentioned, and we'll be kind of closing it off here pretty soon. You mentioned that you want some more polygraph tests. You've
Mhm.
included yourself in that as far as that you're
Oh,
willing.
100%. I told investigators I'll do as many polygraphs as it takes.
And you don't have to give names, but are there people in specifics that you want to take polygraph tests?
Yeah, there's many people that are involved in the case, including the individual or individuals that found the part of the blanket. They were never polygraphed.
Interesting. And so you want
Wow.
those that found.
The danger with that is, you guys, is that the chances are the person who found the blanket found the blanket. So then it's like, now you have to watch when you're searching for people that you might get accused of, or where you have to take a lie detector. I don't know.
On certain things to also be polygraphed as well.
Yeah, because I think the people that found the only possible evidence during the
There was a
search,
shoe,
they
too.
should probably be
Okay.
polygraphed, considering that their involvement, right?
What's their involvement?
You know, there's some interesting
He says considering their involvement. What's their involvement? Searching?
things that have been said that
Mhm.
you know, I was talking to Darwin once as well, and he mentioned that when he was talking to Malaya, that there was, before the disappearance, there was conversation of her with the family talking about potentially leaving you, and that when he went and spoke to her, like, hey, is this
Hey,
true? She said, don't worry about it, I got another plan, or something to that nature. And
Yeah,
so,
I can tell you the actual story on that if you want to hear it,
yeah, go ahead.
because I know Darren too. So
He'd be happy to share. Let's hear.
Yeah, how from your point of view, how did that go down?
and okay,
What?
Patty, which is Malaya's grandmother, asked Darren,
Story
I don't
time.
think Malaya wants to be with Daniel anymore. This is 2 weeks prior.
Unbelievable.
Do you think, Darren, you can go and get Malaya? And Darren's like, no, I'm not breaking up in a relationship. Like that's a relationship. Like I'm not going to get involved in somebody else's, life. Right.
Right.
Which makes sense. That was a smart thing by Darren to do. So this is 2 weeks prior. And so then Patty calls Malaya and asks Malaya, if you ever just want to, get away, you can come live with me. And then that's when Malaya said, no, Patty, I have a different plan.
Hmm.
And this was told to me by Darren, which had access to both sides of the family, right?
Yeah.
The only person that had access to both sides is Darren and the investigators.
Huh.
So,
Do you think that any dogs or any searches are going to?
and also, Daniel, I want to add to that. This is backed up in the court case with Meadow. And in one of the affidavits, it does state that Malaya wanted to leave 2 weeks prior, but then decided to stay. So that's some evidence that back that up.
It's an odd timing of things.
Yeah, it's very odd. It's extremely odd.
It is. It's odd timing, and
for Malaya to say that, a little bit more odd.
it is. It is.
Mhm.
Like, I completely understand when Darren says some of the things that he says, referencing her, her actions or behaviors.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I know you mentioned that the one time that you've talked to her. What was the second time? that you talked?
The first time was just that hello on the phone when
Yeah.
she was fleeing to the reserve. And then as soon as she heard my voice, she immediately hung up the phone, right?
Okay.
So, but by that time, I already heard the background noise. She wasn't a moving car. So Darren was actually correct on that. And
Right.
Darren's correct on a lot of things. So,
And the second time.
and the second time was
No tongue roll.
when she filed the report or complaint to CPS about me. We can go into the first complaint after this, but the second complaint was after
Second complaint.
investigators came and got all Jack and Lily's belongings. There was some letters that were received in the mailbox here, and so there was 3 letters. There was one to Lily, one to Jack, and one to Malaya. They were all from Nova Scotia Health Authority.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they were health cards or not, or something, but because I wasn't going to go look through the mail because that's a federal offense to go through someone's mail, right?
Oh my gosh, stop it.
So
It's a federal offense. You guys, is vaping legal over there out of curiosity? Is vaping legal where he is out of curiosity?
there was the 3 letters and there was Jack and Lily's tablets, right? So there was a tablet each and there was 3 letters. Malaya was coming out of CPS, so I walked up. When she opened up her trunk, I seen her, I walked up and I put the 3 pieces of mail and the 2 tablets in their trunk. And I said, "Have a good day, Malaya," and walked away, and then went in and had my visit with Meadow.
Mm-hmm. And she
But-
reported you for that.
Yeah, she reported me for that. But when I walked up to her, the odd thing was when she seen me, she
For
smiled.
what? Look, I believe
So-
that.
I'm not sure what went
Maybe
on there, but I wasn't like extremely overly nice when I set the stuff down. I set it down. And I said, "Have a good day, Malaya," just like that. So I wasn't like trying to be like overly nice or overly mean, right? It was kind of neutral.
And what did
That's it.
what did CPS tell you about that interaction?
CPS told me, if Malaya was felt really caught off guard by it and was she didn't like it when I walked up and handed her mail.
He loves
But
that.
then why would she smile, right? With this, which adds a whole nother layer to that situation. But they just said, CPS mainly just said to me, if you have mail that comes for her, or you want to, there's something you have to give her, just give it to us and we'll give it to her.
Wow.
Good deal.
So
And what was the first time that
the first one was actually I parked too close to her. Like I parked near her in the parking lot.
How far were you parked from her?
He did that on purpose. Look at him.
Sometimes the only parking lot, the parking spot was right beside her, so I was parked beside her. Right, I'm not gonna miss a visit because I don't have a place to park. And if there's a parking spot right beside her, I'm gonna take it.
That's not manipulation. What? So that was the only spot in the lot? Or do you guys think that he like saw her vehicle and went right next to it because there was a spot? I mean, he pretty much just tells us that's what he does.
Did you see her, or was
That's like antagonizing, isn't it, you guys?
it just your car was next?
No, I didn't see her, but I usually see her almost every time,
But
right?
he
Because
wait,
I
but he knew that she was going to come out as he went in, so he knew that she was going to see his car when she came out, and I don't like that.
wait like an extra couple minutes before I go in sometimes, just so I don't,
So you could say, "You're
I'm
right."
walking through the door and she's walking out through the door, and we don't have like a
Cross paths.
face-to-face, interaction.
Understood.
Because
Well,
I'm not going to
you're
get
talking
a complaint sent against or put against me just for opening up the door for her, right?
Yeah.
I'm really not interested in that.
He's so chivalrous.
Yeah. No, those things can be nasty, man. Break up.
But I will like air it out though. So by saying this too, there's no restraining orders against me. There's no
Oh.
peace bonds. There's nothing like that, right?
Oh my gosh,
That's good
look
to
at
know.
that.
That's-
Look how worried he was about that. He is so worried about what people think of him, which I have to tell you guys, and let me be honest here, and let me put this right out there. Full disclosure, I do not know this man. I cannot diagnose him with anything. However, the thing that's different from like the Goldwater rule that we had years ago where you can't diagnose somebody, we still have that rule, so I'm not diagnosing anybody. But what we have now that we didn't have then is the internet and the ability to research online. Like I have access to full journal articles because my role in academia. So, wow, you guys, I have so many things wrong with this right now.
Good to
Yeah.
know. There's no restrictions. You're a
He
free man.
has to tell us, like you guys, I don't, oh my gosh.
You can go wherever you want. Correct.
Yeah, I can go wherever I want. Some places I'm just not allowed to go to.
There you go. Well, Daniel,
No tongue roll.
I
He was
want to
proud of
say
that.
thank you. Is there anything else that you want to get off your chest to to everybody that's tuning in and watching? Anything you want to say to
Oh, I'm
those that are
curious.
watching?
I'm going to say if anybody has information on the kids,
That was
contact
great.
your local police department, call RCMP, or you call Crime Stoppers for if you have any tips or any information. I would just like people to do that. People say don't raise awareness. All these interviews
What?
I've been
Who
doing
says
raises
that?
awareness. This is going to raise awareness. They know there's a lot of people that don't speak out for the kids, and I know I'm not the best voice for them because
What?
you know what I mean? I'm in the spotlight and I'm attacked so much, but it doesn't stop me from speaking out. It doesn't stop me from all speaking out. I mean, I'll get attacked as much as it takes.
All right. So if you guys notice, I was hesitant the last stop because I was like hesitant on what I was going to say, but now this just like verifies for me. So I get access to all the journal articles and stuff like that. So just looking at research, and research is what I do, and it's psychology. From the research, and again, I'm not diagnosing anyone, I see, and I'm only 3 days in, a whole lot of narcissism with him. I don't know if you guys see that. But everything's about him. So he even makes that last part about him. So I literally said, oh, that was a great answer, because he answers the way that I think he knew he had to answer. He had to know from all of the interviews. And again, you guys, listen to what somebody tells you about them. When someone tells you something about them, believe them, right? They're going to tell you who they really are. So in this case, I would say, listen to what he's telling us who he is. And he just said, and this part, I just don't even know where he got this, but that people tell him not to like continue investigating or not to continue. What was his exact words? I don't even know, but that was so ridiculous that he said that. Who says that? Nobody said that. Said no one ever.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate because some of the attacks are relentless without any evidence of anything.
Oh,
And
the amount of theories and speculation and conspiracy theories are just, it's unreal.
And most of them don't hold water. You know, once you start breaking them down and you start going, all right, if this happened, then this would have had to have happened.
But the worst thing about all these conspiracy theories and, you know, speculation is they drive newcomers away from the case, right? Because I want to see newcomers come into the case because they have
He just said it draws newcomers away from the case. Doesn't even make any sense.
fresh perspective and different angles that maybe, you know, weren't explored yet or not thought of. And
Oh, here I come, Bella. Welcome. This is Dr. Vona. I'm on the case since you called for me.
that really stops them from trying to speak out because they're going to be, you know what I mean? They're going to get attacked as well or shot down just because they want to learn. They want to learn on the case, and maybe they have a perspective that's actually valid, and they never get a chance to share because they're afraid of criticism.
That's true. That's true.
And I think that's a big thing.
It is. You know, when I've covered cases, I've been criticized by a lot for following the evidence.
You should have said for
the Bryan Kohberger case,
sticking
I
up for
followed the
you.
evidence that pointed to the right guy. Obviously, he pled guilty, and I had a lot of his supporters who started their stuff. And then even here, there's a lot of people who are focused in on some of the things that aren't relevant anymore. Like,
Yeah,
for
of course.
instance, when we talked about the kids in missing
Or
school.
they just completely make things up. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing to do with drugs. There's nothing to do with, you know what I mean? They didn't get lost in the woods. And I'm going to be the first one to ever say that. I don't think they're in the woods whatsoever. I don't
Where do
think
you
they
think
ever
they are?
were. And I feel like a dummy for wasting the first day and a half searching my ass off for then my family and friends to sit down and sit me down and say to me, Daniel, we don't think they're in the woods. And then with all the resources poured in and all the searchers' time, and they got injuries, and the amount of helicopters and drones, dogs,
He's like
the
choking in his own
classified
words.
technology, like the satellites, they didn't find anything.
Yeah, that's interesting that they didn't find a single thing outside of, they found the boot prints and the blanket.
Yeah, but they still tell me that that's the only possible evidence.
Yeah.
And the
there were
blanket
kids
and the
out there,
tree, I
right?
mean, I'll be the first to say that too. Investigators told me straight out when I asked them if it's planted, and they said yes.
when
And then
did they
I
tell
didn't
you
push
that?
any further for any more information after that.
And
Did you
when
just
was that?
wait?
Was
Why isn't this a bigger thing right now? Why isn't anybody talking about this more? He just said that the investigators told him that the blanket was planted. Is that what he just said?
Like recent, was that
That
early
was on the day that they came and the investigators came and got all Jack and Lily's belongings from the house. So that would have been like a little over 3.5 months in, closer to the 4th month.
Okay, so not too long.
And they know that for 100% because they reviewed all the bus footage, right, from the school buses.
Oh, so this is what I'm talking about. Here we go. We got verbal gymnastics. I think he just conflated both of the blanket stories because there was 2 of them. And I think now he's going back to the first blanket story, which then makes him be telling the truth, right? So investigators might have told him that the blanket was state or, wasn't anything. I don't know that they said the words that he said, that it was planted. But again, is this possibly true? Yes, because he could be talking about the other blanket because he just switched back to the buses. So he literally tells on himself.
Yeah.
What about the other blanket?
Yeah.
Look,
but that was the main thing I wanted to end it with was just, if you have any information, come forward. All the
that's
tips
weird.
are going to be reviewed.
I didn't know you were.
There's probably the amount of tips, I mean, that they're actually telling you is nothing compared to, I mean, all the tips are, they have so many more tips than what they're actually telling you. We'll say it like that.
Interesting.
That looked like that made him nervous.
Well,
I was told by investigators every time I change my profile picture on Facebook, they get hundreds of tips from that. Yeah. So they joked around and they told me, I said, I'm going to change my Facebook profile picture. And they said, Daniel, we warn you about that. We're going to get so many tips. They just get pages and pages of tips from emails and, phone calls and stuff like that.
And, these folks, I think they're doing some sort of help. They're not helping the cause by doing that. All that is
no, they're not. They said they get a lot of tips from the states too. So,
do you guys really think that? I think that they're getting tips. I don't know that it's because he changed his profile picture. Like, if that's not something like self-centered, I don't know what is.
If you live in the States, how are you calling in a tip that you've seen the kids or anything about the kids? I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory that, you know what I mean? You may not have information that's valid.
Yeah.
Thor's like,
well, Daniel, I want to thank you again for coming on and
yeah, this is the first interview I actually ever did, and that's not actual news outlet.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. If anything else pops up, maybe we can do something like this again. If they're found, hopefully we can, talk again.
Yeah. I'm like afraid that if I
have
stop,
yourself a good night, Daniel. And thank you again. I for one believe that you guys that you're not involved. I don't think Janie's involved. I think this is a really, really unfortunate situation.
You just did a very manly thing, and he's like puffing up.
Alive. I sincerely do.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I hope for that every day, and I hope investigators are coming close.
Yes, sir. Yes,
sir.
But they'll never tell me if they're coming close or not, right? So.
Well, no. They'll tell you when they got an answer.
Daniel, you just made him so nervous.
And they got an arrest or they got an answer. They'll let you know when they got the answer, but they won't tell you when.
Yeah, that's another thing. I want to actually explain this too.
This
is still considered a missing persons case because there is no charges laid, or there's no suspects that are in custody. So right now it's still a missing persons case, and it's not a criminal. Did
anybody else think that when he meant that he meant that there's no proof of a death? Meanwhile, he says everything but that. It's all about him.
Yeah.
There's no criminal.
You're absolutely right. There's no evidence of a criminal offense for them to have it into a criminal investigation. Well, Daniel, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Everybody, thank you for tuning in.
All right, you guys. So let's bring this together. Oh my gosh, we've been on here for almost 3 hours. I don't even know if I've ever done a live that long. And I don't even have the ability to get like memberships or anything for you guys. They stole my stuff. The only thing I can get, I don't know. I don't even know if I could get super chats or anything, to be honest with you. They might have taken everything from me, but that's how you guys know that I'm here for the right reasons. Dr. V, you are so spot on. You know what's up. Oh, I appreciate that, you guys. I do appreciate that. And thank you, DT, for letting us view that, even though I didn't really ask if I could before. See you guys, but he's a good friend and he's not going to complain. We hope. Fingers crossed. No. But you know what, you guys, I really do have to say, I do appreciate everybody that came here. I can't believe we've been here this long. I definitely have work for 15 hours tomorrow. So I have to end this, but you guys have been a lovely, lovely crowd. I appreciate all of you. All I ask is that you subscribe because I want to be able to reach more people. Share me if you think your grandma would like me or your aunt or whoever. I would love that. And to everybody that's here on my channel normally, thank you so much for being here. Thank you to my mods. Thank you to Daniel. And thank you to all of you for being here. I appreciate all of you so very much. Please like and subscribe. That's all I ask. And a lot of you have. Thank you, Justin. Justin told everybody to come over here. DT, his whole group has gotten me so far. And now I have other people that are starting to come into the group too. And I love that. Everybody I've met here so far has been lovely. Well, almost everybody, but pretty much everybody has been pretty cool. So thank you guys. I don't know what I'm doing next. I have to be honest with you guys. I work at 4 different schools. So I work at a university, 2 colleges, and now a high school, but it's for the university. So it's really a university. So I'm teaching 10 classes. It's a lot of college classes. So I work a lot Monday through Thursday. So if I don't see you for a few days, it's because I'm grading many a paper. But thank you all for coming. And I will try to make sure that I at least give a few hours before I go live again. That's the only thing bad that I will say about me is that I don't always know when I can go live. So until next time, I hope you guys tune back in. I hope everyone enjoyed the conversation. So not enjoyed the conversation. Obviously, we all need to think about the victims here, right? Jack and Lily, we need to remember them first. What I meant by enjoy was enjoy the perspective, a different perspective in all of us talking. And I do appreciate all of you. If anybody has any information that you could give me or you think of anything, I read all the comments afterwards. So I think it starts though after we hang up. So I will go back and read the other ones, but I don't know that I could respond to old ones. And if we weren't live for almost 3 hours, I'd go back. But if you wrote a comment under this video or whatever, I always write back. So hopefully I'll see you in the comments and I'll see you here again. Good night, everyone. Thank you for a lovely, lovely stream. Please like, subscribe, and share if you enjoyed this so that I can continue to bring you content. Thank you so much.